You're not
Well,
interrupting her.
I start reading, and then while I'm in the middle, and you have to know the stories are less than 500 words long.
Yeah.
In the middle of the first story, I see that she can't, and then she's already sleepy, and then I start reading the second one, and I ask her if I can read another one, and she's like, yeah, yeah, but I don't think she's listening. It's time for Gabby's Doodle.
We're back. We're back, everybody. It's Thursday. And we're back. Let me get my feet up there. I had a week off. I got to go travel down to my parents and got to put up with one of the worst travel days I've ever had flying on planes. Long story short, what was supposed to be a maybe 6-hour stint between a couple airports turned into about a 17 to 19 hour. I can't remember. I did the math at one point. It was awful. Doesn't matter. We're back. We're ready to roll. And we have an amazing guest joining us today. I'm going to try to say the name, and I will get corrected probably after the fact, but I believe it is pronounced Mojca Novak. Also known as, I'm not even sure how to say this one, Maku there. But Mojca Novak. And they do amazing, cute, that's just the page. This is their book, Pico Paco. Very, very cute animals throughout. Let's see if I can show some of these little shots here. And so we will be having them join us here in just a few minutes. As always, I post stuff up to YouTube. After the fact, I realized someone pointed out to me that somehow in posting stuff, somewhere along the line, it got set to private. So it was able to switch. It was almost like 2 months worth that were private. And so if you are looking to find old episodes within the last 2 months, hop on YouTube now. They should be available for you to go look at. So there's lots of content there for the folks that are trying to catch up on old ones. In the meantime, again, a note to anybody, mentorships, if people need mentorships, I don't want to say it. I'm close to a month away from being back in the classroom, which I'm looking forward to, but just the summer is flown by. But I always have room for some folks to mentor, so if you have any questions, send me some info or send me an interest, and I will let you know what is available. Other than that, I'm going to put in the comments, ask us anything. And so anybody that has questions, you can just type them right into the comments. Let's see, anything. There we go. I'm going to put that up there. And then I'm going to let our special guest in. Let me do this. And there we go. So give it just a minute. There should be a request to join from what's it? There we go. We got it. Hello.
Hi. I don't see myself.
You don't see yourself?
Oh,
are
okay.
you? If you're watching on a separate display, it does take a little bit. Uh-oh. What just happened? Let me accept them back in. Hold on a second.
Wait just a second.
Okay.
Oh, I knew something was gonna go wrong.
Are you watching on another display?
Yeah, but from a different profile. I mean, different account.
Oh, just know that it takes about, from what we're viewing right now on our devices, it takes maybe about 10-15 seconds before it shows up on the feed to everybody else. So it may take a minute for it to pop up. But in the meantime, welcome.
Thank you.
How did I do on the name?
It was impressively well pronounced. Not correct, but You're really close.
Okay, what is the actual pronunciation then for me?
Mojca.
Mojca.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
it's funny because since I moved abroad, I realized that it's not easy to pronounce this name. And on top of that, I have a lisp. I don't pronounce all the letters very clearly.
okay.
And one of those letters is in my name. It's the
Yeah.
letter
Yep.
C.
Yep.
So I'm not the right person to teach other people how to pronounce my name because I can't.
I did some research. I was like trying to figure out because I knew there was probably something I was missing because are you background wise Slovenian?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so I
yeah,
was like, it's not gonna be the way that it's spelled. It's not Majka, or it's not whatever, like I'm sure you've heard all of them. Um,
yeah. Here in Spain, I usually hear it pronounced as Mojca.
Mocha. Okay.
Yeah, and that's so far from the right
Yeah.
pronunciation, but I'm used to it. Like, if I hear Mojca at the dentist, for example, I know it's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's not that many other. Now, do me a favor and pronounce. I know it's backwards, but pronounce this one for me the way that you would say it.
mokulere.
Mokure. Okay. I know like if someone asked me who you were, I'd be able to pinpoint it in an instant, but I won't be able to say it. And I'd be like, oh, I have to spell it out for you for someone. So um not that my name is any easier abroad. I'm sure that it's pronounced very differently in German than what I say it here. But um
How,
well,
but
thank you.
how do you
It's just
pronounce?
just Hoffman, but I'm sure there's like that's the American version
Yeah,
of the same thing, and it's probably got
yeah.
much more flair on it somewhere else. Um, well, thank you for joining us. We're huge fans of yours. We're very very excited to have you on. Um, I as I put in the ad, I think pretty much everything you've done and posted is like the most adorable critters and characters and whatnot. There's something about like the scale and the softness of the work that I've always really really loved. And so I don't know if we'll see that magic today, but I assume we might see some of it.
I
Uh,
am a little bit under pressure. I'm nervous. So we will
okay,
see.
yeah, I'll say you do the worst work in the world, so anything you do today is like just
Fabulous.
perfect. Yeah. um, so tell me a little bit because I've done some research on my own, but for those that are watching that don't know you or have a sense of who you are but don't know all the details, give us a little quick rundown of sort of who you are and what you do.
Okay, so maybe a short way of describing myself would
Mhm.
be first, I was born and raised in Slovenia. I've been living in Spain now for the last three years and a half, something like that. Um, as a kid, like most artists, I think, I was drawing a lot.
Yep.
Mostly it was my bigger sister's fault because she was drawing a lot, and as a little sister, I had to copy her in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So I still draw, and I don't have any um, degree from art whatsoever. I'm self-taught. Um, I went I went to study actually educational sciences
Yeah.
and East Asian cultures. I had no idea what to study. And I just had this idea like you can't do much with drawing, like you can't make a living out of that, this typical story.
Yep. Yep.
But I also had no other interest, like special interest. So I just went to study and I never got a degree because I just kept on getting distracted by drawing. And here I am today. I focus on making picture books. And also from time to time I do editorial projects.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's it.
I love it. I love it. Does your sister still draw?
Maybe sometimes she does crafts. Like I don't know how to say that in English, but she has really skilled hands to do little things. So
Okay.
she's sewing and she's crafting and stuff like that.
And so you passed her up and took over the drawing leadership in your family.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
maybe I took the drawing hobby a bit too seriously, you
Yeah.
know.
The it's always impressive to me to hear people who did not go the traditional sort of school route and became self-taught and yet have such like great knowledge. And I it's one of those things where like I always wonder how your brain works learning compared to, because I always needed someone in front of me kind of telling me something for a while and getting me started to even just think outside the box of any sort. And like looking
Mm.
at your work, it's like it must just come naturally, or it's years and years of studying on your own that got you there. But it's always impressive to me to hear that sort of twist.
That's a hard question 'cause I hate other people telling me how to draw.
Okay.
I had like I think most kids around the world, I had art class in elementary school
Yep.
and I really didn't like it. My teacher, she was very kind and all that, but she was always telling us not just what to do. Of course, teacher has to give you a task, but
Yep.
she told us how to do it, the techniques,
Hmm.
and I was like, why? Like I can just skip all that and go straight to the drawing.
Yeah.
Or when we had to do like limited color palette and stuff like that, I really hated it.
I think it took me some year. It took me until college before I really sort of like learned that I could break the rules. I
Uh,
think I was very much a follow the teacher's orders up until like maybe high
oh,
school or when I was like 16 or so, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I can break the rules and do whatever I want now.
yeah.
But it's interesting to sort of hear how people come to it. So today we're gonna draw, we're gonna whatever we're doing. But I want to find out from you a couple of things first, which is material wise, what
Mm.
are we using today? Um,
Ooh.
I make the assumption that a lot of your work is traditional based on some of the textures and the
Yeah.
tones and things. But in looking at some of the, like in the Pico Paco book, I was not able to pick out, it doesn't say like what material is used in the front. And so I'm kind of like, I'm ready to hear sort of what are the materials of choice?
Mm. It's actually with Pico Paco, it was just these how are they called? These nail color.
Oh, Karen Dosh?
Yeah, I don't know. Does it show? I
Yeah.
still don't see myself on my phone, but yeah,
Oh, really?
I use
Okay.
these, but these are these nail color number 2 that are aquarelle, so you
Yep.
can.
You can add
So
water.
I kind of started using them as watercolors. I don't know why I have watercolors, but I use these as watercolors now. And then on top of that, color pencils. And also, for some reason, under all the characters, the first layer was this alcohol-based marker, the
Oh.
pro marker.
And it does it show, I'm trying to see, like, does it show up in there, or is it sort of just a base to build on top of? Oh, I
Yeah,
can.
it's just like to have some toned background because starting on white paper is scary. So for example, on the front end papers, I'm not sure. Yeah, this little house, you see that here it's actually not very, very white.
Yeah,
That's the marker.
the tone. Yeah,
And then what is white, I actually painted it white.
that's you can
Stuff
see
like
it.
that.
You can see it like in the undertone of the eyes and things of the sort.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense now. It's one of those things where I never would have been able to pick that out
Yeah.
of any sort that that's what that was. Um, so uh, are those? Is that what we're using today? Are those materials?
I will be switching the marker with pan pastel,
Okay.
and it's just that these markers, like I always use watercolor paper, and they kill the markers. They're not meant to be used on watercolor paper.
Yeah.
Paper.
Yeah.
So I'm switching it with pan pastel. I've learned that this is not a good way to draw. Because for this book, for Pico Paco, I've probably used 8, if not even 10 markers
Yeah.
because they kept on drying out. So pan pastel.
And then what kind of, you said watercolor paper. What kind of watercolor paper are you using?
Oh, wait. I don't know how it's pronounced. Just a second. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know the name. Wait, usually it says on.
Yeah, in the corner, watermarked, or it's not that important.
It's the Saunders.
Saunders,
Something.
huh?
I will. I have the paper block somewhere, but I usually use these big papers that I just cut myself.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
a little bit.
Don't worry about hunting it down at this point. It was if you knew it off the top of your head.
Yeah.
There's always people out there going like, what is that paper? What is that material? So at some point today we will dive deep into probably some of the making and sort of how you think, but obviously it's a conversation. It's open. You can talk about anything you want. You can ask questions. I'll ask questions back and forth. If for some reason you need to go, which I go a long time. I know I go for 4 hours. Not everybody wants to. And you're in Spain, which means it's what 7 there.
8. It's 8 and 15. Yeah.
Okay, so if you need to jump off at any point, don't hesitate. Just tell me I'm getting tired, or I want to get out of here, or I hate this conversation, or whatever makes sense to you, and I won't be offended. And then if we do have internet problems, we'll try to deal with that. We've been pretty good, but every once in a while we have some issues of upload speeds. Oh, my wife found it. Saunders Waterford.
Yeah, great. Yeah, good research.
Yeah, my wife's upstairs taking notes on all of this as we go along. So today, do you know what you're going to actually make?
Yeah, I'm gonna draw a pig.
A pig? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because of a project you're working on, or is that just an interest in pigs?
Yeah, it's a project. I'm trying to put together some book ideas that I have, and it's just this pig that I'm spending most of my days with.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to decide, and maybe you can decide for me. I have either a caterpillar on a bike.
Oh.
And just all the legs are pedaling. I don't know how it would work. I'd have to figure it out as I go. Or a little steamboat that's in a bathtub with little feet and stuff sticking up that they're trying to navigate the waters of a bathtub.
Cool. Do you just get these ideas randomly, or are you thinking like a whole week what you're gonna do?
This was a sketch I drew a couple weeks ago, and it's been sitting here saying like, oh, at some point maybe I'll do this. This I drew about a minute before we started. Now, this isn't what it's going to look like, but this is just like, here's the idea. But do you have a preference? Do you want one or the other?
The caterpillar.
Caterpillar it is.
Maybe add a little helmet so it will be safe, because I think
I
it's quite tricky to have so many legs.
A bunch of little like knee pads and elbow pads, on all those legs. I don't know structurally. I mean, bikes are hard enough, but I don't know how this is going to make sense. But I'll figure it out.
I think more than the bike, it's tricky to draw so many legs.
Yes, and to get, especially because I'm doing collage, to get that kind of small detail as we go through is going to be challenging. So today, I'm just getting my board here in the background. Why don't we switch to our downshoots to put the cameras down, and I will keep an eye if something goes off center or anything of the sort. I'll let you know. Let me switch mine. I'll put that up top. And so, again, I have a feed here, so if people ask questions, I can relay those questions to you. In fact, we already have a question ready for you. It looks like we have 2 of them. Are you able to answer questions while you set up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the first question is, there's one that's pretty general that we'll get to in a bit, but the first one is, how did you learn story pacing? And especially with someone who was sort of self-taught, there's the challenge of having to like understand story structure and to understand narrative, and was there a method that you used to start to wrap your head around sort of what would work in kidlit in particular?
Oh, that's not an easy question to start with.
The other one's easier. The other one's easier, I think.
Maybe I do a lot of trial and error. So when it comes to story pacing, making little book dummies is a great way to see how it will look like when you're flipping the pages.
Okay.
But also just reading picture books or books in general and seeing how they're structured really helps. Because at the end of the day, they're all relatively similar. I mean, there's like these typical stories where you have, I mean, not typical stories, but typical ways of having a question and then the kid wants to flip the page to get the answer, or,
Yeah.
you know, just this kind of tricks in a way.
A structure that makes sense, not necessarily the story is
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. And also maybe also one thing that I think it's really important is that to leave some space to breathe, not just words wise, but also with images, that you leave some space.
Meaning like if I look at something like Pico Paco and I flip through this, you're going to have pages that are full spreads, and then you have moments that are sort of lighter.
Yeah.
Like this page, one day on her way home, big dark clouds gathered above her head.
Yeah, exactly that, where you don't need to now draw a whole storm and the whole environment, but it's just enough to have this one cloud and her and maybe her expression that gives the tone, something like that.
The term that I always learned when I was in school was breath. That idea of like when you read a paragraph of text, you need to have a break in the paragraph so you can actually breathe for a second. And it's that same concept essentially of the quieter pages allow the louder pages to be even louder.
Yeah.
Along the way.
Yeah. That's true.
So the other question that was already preloaded in the comment section here was about advice for young illustrators, for people who are trying to break in, and that's a pretty broad question or a pretty broad request, and I'm wondering, are there things like that you learned early on that maybe you didn't know about because potentially of not going through some sort of formal training that you figured out on your own that you could pass along to other folks?
Oh, don't maybe not to take others' advice too seriously.
Okay.
Or too literally, because sometimes when I read not just other illustrators, but also editors or publishers or people that are just in this world, that you should draw certain things in certain way, or that you should know perspective, or that you should, you know the basics of drawings really well and stuff like that. Being someone who doesn't have a professional background, I always feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
So sort of trusting your gut in a way?
Yeah, and practice. I think it's just that. Like if you want to master it, you just have to practice. I mean, if you switch the art materials, like what I usually very often do, it feels like you have to start from the beginning all over. But you just have to practice. So maybe that would be my advice.
Is there there's that like old saying of how many hours you have to put in before you become an expert. For the knowledge of the audience listening, do you feel like you have become an expert, or do you feel like you're still learning on a regular basis?
far away from being an expert.
Okay.
And that's not the goal, really.
Yeah.
I just want to enjoy drawing.
Is there a like, obviously you come to this in a very natural, like, you wanted to draw, you chose a different career path in college or in school, but then um, drawing sort of overrode any of that that sort of I want to say, like, prescribed notion of what you were supposed to do. Um, do you feel like this, because, like, when I went to school, as an example, when I went to school, I had very much had a mission. Like, I'm going to go become a kidlit, or not kidlit illustrator, but just an illustrator, a freelance illustrator, and I have certain jobs that I would like to have and things of the sort. And now, looking back at it, I realize that, you know, um, I could have been much more free with my perception of what I wanted to do, or what was expected of me. And I'm wondering, with you growing up, especially sort of coming to art in a very, very natural um, method or approach, do you feel like that's allowed you to be more free as an artist and not have to play by anybody's rules just in general, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, mm, in a way, I wish I followed a certain path that would be more structured, more maybe less spontaneous and random. Because I mean, I've always liked to draw, but then I never really understood what is it about drawing? Where do I want to go? Is it, I don't know, do I want to draw flowers, or do I want to go into architecture, or do
Yeah.
I want to do books, or not really knowing much about art in general was a little bit like, oh, there's a lot of things you can do, but nothing specifically. So I, at one point, I realized that what I'm doing is probably illustration. And I've always been drawing characters. So I started as, huh, I don't know, it's just weird. I don't know if I can answer this. I
No.
think it's good to have some sort of structure, to have ideas, what you want to do, where you want to go. Because if you're just like randomly walking around trying a little bit of that and a little bit of this, you might be walking around in circles.
Yeah, I
And
mean, the idea of just having knowledge of what was available to you, I could definitely see being a challenge, because
yeah,
the world, or the world of art is broad enough and has so many different avenues that you can take. And if you don't know the cut throughs, or you don't know weird little strange niches within the market, it could be very, very hard to, or not. I don't want to say it's very hard, but you may stick to your lane more than I don't know why there's this metaphor of streets all of a sudden showing up in what I'm saying, but that idea of um, having some sort of historical background of what's available, or some market research kind of stuff, could be, I think, valuable. Um,
mm,
so talk to me. I do want to jump in, because this is the thing that really, really excites me. We can talk business and we can talk shop and all that stuff, but I want to know about your um, the method to your madness of creating such adorable, cute things. And has that been something that's always been part of your artwork? Like, going back when you were little, were you drawing lots of cute little critters and things of the sort? Or is that something that has manifested itself later in life?
as a kid, I was drawing a lot of anime.
Okay.
I grew up watching Sailor Moon, and I really liked Pokemon as well. And
What
I started there.
Sailor Moon is what it's called, like Magic Girl. Um, the students always call it something in my classrooms. I think it's like Magic Girl where like they transform into
Yeah.
something else. Because
Yeah.
she's not normally Sailor Moon the whole time, right?
No, I think her casual real life name is Usagi, something like
Okay.
this. And I don't really know the plot. I never really understood it, maybe because I was too little. But she is kind of fighting the evil, and she can transform her into this sailor warrior. And there is 5 of them, so they are just fighting the bad guys.
Wait, there's 5 of them?
Yeah,
Meaning
there
like
is like
there's
a group of. Actually, there is a
oh,
lot of them, but it's first Sailor Moon, and then there are other 4 girls that are kind of her part of the group, and there are other warriors as well.
oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just her. I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
like a team thing.
Yeah.
I did not know when we started this that I'd start asking questions about Sailor Moon. Um,
Well, now you learned something.
yeah, no, this is. I mean, it was sort of generationally that was not a show that was. I don't. Maybe it was, and I just never noticed. But I don't think that was a show that was available when I was growing up. And then I only saw like her on merchandise, and maybe there were other
Oh.
characters that I saw, and I just didn't know they were from Sailor Moon. Um,
Oh, right.
so you started out drawing anime.
Yeah.
Walk me through the steps of sort of like your older sister was drawing and you picked up
Yeah.
drawing or moved towards drawing because of that, but was your sister doing the same type of artwork
Yeah.
at the time?
We had a whole procedure. We recorded the cartoon, the anime, on
Okay.
cassette,
Yeah.
and then we replayed it, and we stopped it at the scene that we liked, and then we just copied it.
And your
I
sister
don't know if
was
that makes sense.
no, it makes sense. Like we do that actually in some of the classes that we have where we'll stop like old film noir movies and have people draw from them so they understand sort of composition and shot choice.
Oh, okay.
And so it's the same method. It's just a different genre
Hmm.
of film in that case, not necessarily anime, but still the same basic principle. Um, was your sister? You said is older, right?
Yeah, she's 5 years older than me.
5 years. Okay. So was was there a point in there where she sort of like you? This is gonna sound probably bad the way I put this, but was there like a competition ever of who's the better artist as you went through?
Oh, not that I was aware of. From my side, no, but maybe I should ask my sister.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, was there a certain point in which you outpaced her, and all of a sudden you're making, your drawings started to look more like the show, and hers were struggling, or if that was something that was even in either of your heads as you went along.
Actually,
Um,
I still am pretty sure that she draws better than me. We draw in very different styles, um, but I think she has more skill than I do.
now you said that she does craft stuff, but she didn't
Yeah,
end up in art of any sort.
she went to art high school,
Okay.
and most of the stuff that she drew that wasn't anime and that I saw was the work they did in school. Um, and I remember always feeling a bit jealous of how she draws. But
Well, look at you now, and look at her now. Like
yeah,
you're making money off of your you're
I
making
think
your
I have
living.
to pressure her to draw a bit more.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta show up at family events with awards and recognition, and sort of put it in her face and tell her who's the star now, who's the artist now, and see if you can challenge her.
I think as kids and also now we are very kind to each other as siblings, which I think it's quite unusual for siblings. So I don't know if we would go that far.
Ah, yeah, no, I found out I was home at my parents uh, for the last week, and I found out that my brother said something along the lines to him that he feels guilty that he teased me so much when I was little. And I don't think it was a big deal. I thought that was just pretty normal, but I think he feels some regret over it later in life. But
Mm,
um, it was a very competitive environment, let's put it that way, that I grew up in. My family's very competitive with games and all those kinds of things. So don't rub it in her face. But if she starts to rub it in your face and say, I was actually the better artist, that's when you pull out all the stuff you worked on and slap it down in front of her, because you got that as your ace card to be able to throw down. So walk me. Did your parents have any sort of artistic background?
my dad is a musician, and my mom is very crafty. Is that a word?
Yeah,
Craft.
crafty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So I've always been surrounded with arts in different forms.
what kind of music does your dad play?
Oh, he's into rock music, but they play. He's been in many bands, and they were playing in Austria and Germany, and they play. I have no idea how this is called in English, but it's the kind of music that you would listen to if you go to a public party in Austria, in that area. I
Oh,
guess it's a bit traditional, popular music,
okay,
maybe.
but that's not the kind of stuff that he listens to for himself.
No, he's more into rock music.
And were you ever a musician? Because like, did you ever have to take music classes or things of the sort?
He tried teaching me guitar, and maybe we had one lesson together, and I quit. I can't. Like, I've also never been interested in musical instruments. I love music, but I don't know.
But the
Maybe I
instrument,
should be
yeah.
playing drums or something, like something that he doesn't play. But guitar, no.
That's my son is very musically inclined, and I am not. I have no rhythm. I clap on the wrong beats.
Oh no.
It's bad. But he is so like he can not necessarily can play by ear, but he's pretty close to that in some sense. And
Mm.
so he's shown me up many times on that. Now I don't know if he has better rhythm than I do, but he at least can hear notes better than I can. Um,
What does he play?
he plays violin right now and he does percussion. But
Oh,
basically, if you
okay.
give him a musical instrument, he can start to sort of find songs on it relatively easy compared to what I would. You can actually hear like he knows what's a minor and a major note and things of the sort. And mine's just plucking and random screeches with whatever I'm playing. So I'm always jealous of people that can play music, especially those who are professional and can like make beautiful songs. Um,
Yeah.
and so going back, let's jump back a little bit to sort of the kidlit world and
Yeah.
talk me a little bit through sort of the decision to jump into that. Like, obviously, you knew you were doing illustration, or you found at some point that you were doing sort of illustrative work. But how did kidlit become one of those avenues? Was it an offer that came to you? Was it something that you knew about for a long time and said, "This is the thing I want to try"?
Mm, well, actually, officially, it was Pico Paco that opened the door for me.
Okay.
Um, I did some stuff book related before that. Like, you also put it on this image for
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 the ad?
today's
Yeah.
Urban Doodle. It's
Yep.
this. There's this picture book um, that Mojca wrote. She's a Slovene actress, and we did that together. I feel like I've already kind of surpassed this style that I had back then. So I don't know. I feel a bit embarrassed sometimes looking through the
Ah,
illustrations. but the story is really, really, really nice. It's about this eraser who is the shape of a basketball, and she's very furious. She's super angry, and there is one crayon that she absolutely cannot stand, and it's this red one, because she's bragging all the time that all the hearts are always drawn by her, and
Yeah.
she's the most important color because she's red and all that. And the eraser, who is sitting here all pissed off, she just cannot stand her. So when I finished drawing this, it was published in Slovenia, by the way. When I finished drawing this, I felt like, okay, this was really nice. It was stressful. It's not easy, but I had fun. I also really liked working with the author, and I felt like, okay, I should do something about this, something in this style again. But
Yeah.
as I've heard online and from other people, it's difficult to break into the industry, to get an agent, all that. And one
Yeah.
day, the former editor from Flying iBooks, she DM'd me, and she asked me if we can have a meeting. And she literally gave me the chance to make a book.
Did
And I
she
had
just
no.
ask, like, what do you have, or was it?
She asked me if I have something, if I have some ideas,
Yeah.
and of course I said, yeah, I have a lot of ideas,
Yeah.
although that was a lie.
Yeah. Classic.
And then I spent some months trying to write stories, and it was all horrible. But she really liked the idea of Pico Paco. At first, this story was very different from what it turned out to be. But she gave me lots of advice and guided me through the whole project. And yeah, the book happened. It was very stressful. It was very difficult. But at the end, yeah, it turned out a really beautiful book. And I'm super proud of it. So
I mean, Flying Eye is one of those companies that does amazing, like, not only are the stories good, but just like the production value on those books
yeah.
are so high. Like the paper stock, the covers. Like my wife, because we ordered it recently. Like we knew of your work, obviously, but sorry, I got something in my throat. But we ordered it from afar because we can't get it easily in the States. In the same way that you can overseas. And so we ordered it and we got it in, and both of us were sort of enamored with all the embossing on the cover,
Yeah.
like that, or debossing. I can't remember which one it is. Um, and like the production value on it just makes it that much richer and more full. And so it was very exciting to see it, in our hands, this thing that we had seen online and whatnot. So kudos to you for getting such a great publisher to have interest and to put the value into your work.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment. Now, is there other books coming along?
I recently finished one book. It will publish in January or February next year by
Okay.
Walker.
By Walker Books?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
And yeah, right now I'm hanging out with this little pig, and we'll see where we will go.
And so, talk to me a little bit about sort of that initial, like the initial book, like whether it be the one that you did in Slovenia with also another person named Mojca,
Yeah.
which is like surprising. Although maybe like for me it is, but I guess if you're in Slovenia, it's probably like not a big deal. But I was just like looking at it going, okay, wait, what's going on here? I'm seeing the name twice on the cover. But talk to me about sort of the challenges of doing your first book. Were there things that you struggled with? Were there things that sort of you had to learn on the fly? What happened there?
When I was writing the story, I had a problem with, should I write or should I draw more?
Mm.
I didn't know how to put down my idea. That was one thing. And at
Did
the
you
end,
end up?
we just did a little bit of everything at once, which
Yeah.
turned out to work fine for me. But I felt like I have to first write a perfect story with the right pacing, with wonderful language, all of that, and then I will put illustrations on top. But that turned out to be impossible for my little brain.
So did you end up drawing a majority of the book first without knowing the actual wording then?
I did little thumbnails.
Okay.
We had the text, but it was 10 times longer than it should be for a picture book. And then I did thumbnails, and we just shrunk all the text so
Yeah.
to reach this limit that picture books have.
Wait. How long was the text originally? Do you know the word count?
Oh no, I have no idea. I
Okay.
don't remember.
I was like 10 times longer could be anywhere from like 3,000 words up to like 10,000 words, depending. And like, it's such a big jump there that it'd
I
be,
think if the editor didn't stop me, I think I would just start writing a novel.
yeah. Yeah. So you got chapter 1, chapter 2, etc. down the line. Um, and so you work on this book, you get it back, you get it in hand. What was the feeling of, actually getting the physical book? Whether I guess in both cases, because they both turn into books, but um, the was there a joy, a relief? What was your sort of mental state in receiving those copies that you got?
I will ask you a question.
Okay.
What is the author supposed to be feeling? Because I think I was just numb, kind of as if that is not my work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's an answer that I could give. I know on in my end, most of the time a I wouldn't say it's numb, but I think it's one of two things. One, it's either in my case embarrassment, and what I mean by that is like it's so long since I worked on that book
Yeah.
that it feels sort of like, oh, this is old and not what I want it to be anymore. Or it is it feels like you said, like it's someone else's work, or that it is, how do I put this, like the best way I can think of is that it feels disengaged, like it doesn't, I'm so far removed from it that it doesn't even like register. It just sort of feels like, oh, this is a thing that happened, and I've already moved past it to a point where I'm I'm like not even excited in that moment.
Yeah.
And I bet you when my first one came out, I was very excited. But I think at this point, it's sort of like, I've seen it enough times. I've done enough books that like it just doesn't hit in the same way that it once did. But I know there's probably people out there going like, that's crazy. It's exciting every time. But I admittedly, I don't think it is for me.
I might feel the same as you do. I was very pleasantly surprised when I saw the cover, because it's really beautiful.
Yep.
But the rest of it, especially if you're already between the time when you finish the project and then when it's published, if you already start working on a new project
Yeah.
and you're completely invested into that, seeing the finished project from the previous book is a little bit like, yeah, okay, good, like let's move on, like I have
Yep.
stuff to do.
Yep.
But
I'm always excited about the book I'm working on, not the book that I finished.
Yeah, exactly. Although when I recently saw my book for the first time in a bookstore here in Soria, I was really happy. Like, I maybe felt something that I should feel the first time when I saw the book. But I was really happy, and I was like, I was honestly proud of myself, but then I realized that I'm so embarrassed. I don't know why, but I just felt lots of embarrassment, and I couldn't tell the owner of the bookstore that that book is mine.
It's there. I've had instances where I've gone up and said like, "Oh, that's my book. Do you want me to sign it?" And it is very, very. I don't like doing that. Let's put it that way. It's just it is embarrassing. I think to say like, "Oh, this is my work," and be proud of it and brag. But I also think most of the time there's one copy of it. It's not like there's like 15, 20 copies of it sitting on a shelf. And, if it was that, then they would go like, "Oh, Mark, welcome to the store. We need to have copies that we want you to sign." But most of the time it's just like a book that's hidden in their shelf. And it's not as like cool of a person walking through the door, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, but there's like, there's the prestige aspect, or the excitement of feeling cool disappears pretty quickly when it's just one book that you see there.
But that actually happened to you?
Oh yeah. Plenty of times I've seen my books on shelves, but it's hard to walk up and be like, "Can I sign this?" Because I know that would be an exciting thing for someone who buys the book to find the signature in it, but it's still awkward no matter what. So talk to me a little bit about sort of the art, because you said you also did editorial stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what kind of editorial work have you done? Is it primarily stuff for European markets, or is it stuff that's been outside that? What's the?
It's for European market. I regularly draw for one Slovene magazine called Galep. Galep means seagull.
Okay.
And in there they publish my comics of my childhood memories.
Yep.
It's not that I'm really like drawing for the magazine, but they
publish
what I already posted basically on Substack.
Okay.
And from time to time, I also, for that same magazine, I illustrate a poem and stuff like that. And recently, they have invited me to write short stories for them.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw, but I drew Mr. Mole.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that little guy, initially I only drew him for my calendar, but he now has his own page in the magazine where you can read his diary.
Okay, I didn't realize that's what that was from. I thought that was going to be a book of some sort in a different context. I didn't realize that it was for the editorial side of things.
Yeah, it's fun because the stories are super short, but in those few sentences you can get to know him better.
Is that, do you like the short form sort of storytelling?
Yeah.
Because to me that sounds like really fun, because you can move on quickly from one thing to the next and not have to spend months and months trying to perfect a singular story every single time. The one of my challenges, I do not like sticking to the same thing, and so that idea of like short stories sounds really fun, especially if it's just a few images that go along with it. How long have you been doing that?
Well, the first one they published was for an issue that came out in May, and now they have this school break, so they will continue in September. So just one story so far. I,
is this the magazine itself a kid
yeah,
like for kids? Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, it's for kids. It's for Slovene kids that live on the Italian side of the border. You know, kids that grow up
Yeah.
in society where both languages are spoken.
I guess I didn't even this is going to be my pure ignorance showing up. I did not even know that Slovenia was up against Italy. I don't know
Yeah,
why. Like, I mean, it was Slovenia used to be part of the USSR, right?
Yugoslavia. It was part of Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go. And so like it's just one of those things where like you asked me like where France is, I can point that out. You asked me where
yeah,
Yugoslavia is or some of those sort of Eastern European countries, and they all get mixed up in my head. Um,
yeah.
and of course, that's my ignorance. I need to get better at knowing those locations, but I would not have placed it next to Italy one bit. So is there Italian words that show up in Slovenian language?
Uh, it is not similar to Italian language at all, but there are probably a lot of words that we use that are coming from Italian language.
Yeah, that sort of pull from that.
Yeah,
Um, Interesting.
but
Okay, yeah.
Slovene language in general, it's more similar to Croatian or Serbian, maybe even Bulgarian. Not that I know any Bulgarian, but it's just, it falls into the Slavic group of
Yeah,
languages.
yeah.
I hope I'm not mistaken or saying anything
No,
wrong.
this sounds accurate to me, and that's what matters right now. Is this?
Maybe your wife can do the
Yeah,
fact
she can do the
checking in the
research in the back.
background.
Yep, yep. She's going to tell us the history of your country of origin, and she'll get it horribly wrong probably, but I will trust her because she's my wife. Um, the did you grow up on on that border, or did you grow up like where in Slovenia did you grow up in particular?
I was born in the capital in Ljubljana.
Okay.
And then for some time, like during my elementary and high school years, I lived outside of Ljubljana in one village. And then when I went to university, I moved back to Ljubljana and I lived there for, I don't know, was it 7 or 8 years? But Ljubljana is in the very heart of Slovenia. It's in the center. So
Wait, what was your degree in again that you were aiming towards?
I had double major in educational sciences and East Asian cultures.
East Asian culture. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a very very different collection of things. Do you still enjoy some of that study, or is it so far removed from you now?
The East Asian cultures are very far away. Although while I was a student, I liked it more than the educational studies. But now it's now it's the reverse. The reverse. How do you say it?
The opposite.
The opposite. Yeah, I really like sociology and economics as well. But it's just like a little interest that I have as a hobby.
Yeah.
So it's much more closely linked to educational sciences than it is to, well, East Asian cultures is a very broad field, but yeah, I don't feel very connected to it anymore.
Do you does any of the sort of study that you had show up in any way in your work? I mean, obviously, like East Asian cultures, your interest in Sailor Moon,
Yeah,
uh, some of the things there obviously like has some sort of connection to um, drawing and things of the sort, but have you sort of removed yourself from that altogether, or is this still sort of little remnants pop up of like, oh, I remember this little thing and I'm going to put it in a book?
Oh, I actually never thought about it. I bet there is. Like there has to be, no.
Yeah.
Usually we
Some
usually we grab all the little things that happen in our lives and we at the end somehow put it in our art.
Yeah, it shows up whether we want it to or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that like I try to throw little odds and ends of stuff that I enjoy into my books as much as I can, but it also depends truly on the subject matter of the book. Like you can't take Pico Paco and be like, well, this is going to be the section where they go to somewhere in Asia, because that's not the
Yeah.
theme of that book. But I'm trying to find a color here real quick. I'm going to use a little bit of pan pastel as well.
Oh, cool. Maybe we are using the exact same shade.
Wait, what color are you using?
I have the red iron oxide tint.
Oh no, I'm using ultramarine blue tint, bright yellow green tint, and burnt sienna tint, and wow, that's burnt sienna tint. Interesting. And oh wait, what did you say? It was red iron oxide tint?
Yeah.
Yep, that's right here. That's in the list.
Yeah. Yay.
Okay.
Can I
Yep.
ask, do you maybe know why these art supplies are so expensive?
Uh, I mean, it depends on the supply, but a lot of times, like with paint, um, it took me a long time to know this when I was like younger, but the series one, series two, those kinds of things is about how hard it is to get that pigment. And so like
Oh.
there's some of the blues and stuff that don't come naturally. Um, they have to manufacture, or they have to, it's a chemical process or things of the sort. And so sometimes that can go a little expensive, just because of the color that you're using.
Oh.
But um, so that's why, like, if you go and buy earth tones in most pigments of paint or things of the sort, it comes easier just because it's uh, doesn't require as much processing.
Mm.
But when you buy paint, like if I look here, I don't even know. I just buy them now. I don't even look at. These are Series A that I have here. I'm seeing if I have anything that's like a Series B or something that's a weird. Um, no, almost everything I have is a Series A. Yeah, I don't really see
Where
anything.
does that, where is that? Like, is it written on the...
I don't know about pan pastels, but like on paints
Ah,
here, um, I have one that says on the back here, Series 1. So it's just an S1. And this is acrylic wash, and it has a Series A. And so it tells you stuff about like the hue, the chroma, its light fastness, etc. on most paints. But that Series 1 is generally the cheapest, and then you go up from there. And so like if I buy acrylic, um, it can be very, very expensive if you're buying just like the blue that is very hard to come by, or purples and sometimes greens can be a little bit hard to manifest.
oh, that's
And
super
so,
interesting. Oh,
yeah, so be careful. Like if you're trying to watch expense, just be mindful when you go pick them up, which ones you're picking up, because it can make a huge difference. Like there's tubes of wash that I bought, like it's like $7 for a little tube of gouache, and then another one's like 20 something dollars for the same
yeah.
size. And it's just because of the scarcity of the material, or whatever you know whatever the manufacturing is. um,
Mm.
but it could also be like, in the case of pan pastels, it may be like the binder, or the the material itself, not the pigment, that does some of that as well. So I can't quote you and say this is exactly why it costs that much, but a lot of times that's what it comes down to.
Mm. When I first bought the pan pastels, I was like, oh, this is expensive. But then I started using them, and it feels like they will never run out of.
You mean, oh, they just keep going and going and going
Right. It's
as a
just, there
material?
is so much color in that little container, isn't it?
Yeah, no, they do last a long time.
Yes.
And not only that, but like you can stretch them a little further like it doesn't take a lot of pigment to do something, but it's never really bold unless you're using some of the darker colors
Yeah.
that are out there. So like I have some deeper, like this is a orange shade, and this one will, you know, make a pretty hefty dent in the pigment on the page, compared to some of the lighter tones. But I like those lighter tones just because of how soft they are. Like that oxide one that you're talking about is like,
Yeah.
that's the prettiest one to me in general.
Do you mix them?
I do on the surface. I don't mix them before they go down, but I will go and like blend them. I would say basically all the pigments that I do, I tend to mix on surface. I don't like the idea of like having a palette knife and trying to get the most perfect blend before I put it down, because and I assume that you're probably in the same boat, just because I want the texture to show up. And the best way for me to get some texture and some variation is to let the pigment do the work on the surface.
Yeah.
Of some sort. What materials do you? I mean, obviously you're using pan pastels and you're using some of the Caran d'Ache, but are there other materials that you've sort of tried out and love?
I used to love drawing with watercolors,
Well,
but
wait, you say used to?
yeah, I haven't drawn with watercolors for, well, since this book that I did, Inspirational, with the eraser.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I drew with watercolor.
Is there something? Well, I don't want to say there's something wrong with watercolor, but was there a reason why you jumped away from it?
Uh, I had, after doing that book, I had a short period of drawing with nib pen, and I was still coloring a bit with watercolor. And then I bought gouache, and I realized that I don't like it. And then I discovered the nail colors, and ever since I am drawing with nail colors and using
Yeah.
them as watercolors. So it was not that there was anything specifically wrong with the watercolors, but I just found better stuff to draw with.
Yeah, that just sort of suited your production method.
Yeah, and I like the fact that with okay, if you still want to use the nail colors with water, you need water, but I kind of like drawing with dry media more these days.
Mm.
Also,
Is
I
there?
really like putting the nail color on top of the pan pastel because it gives you a really nice texture.
Yeah, no, I like I use the same thing with instead of um the Caran d'Ache stuff, I use colored pencil for the same thing. It's like it's a nice little addition on top of the pigment,
Yeah.
and it's a matter of just finding the right, tone or things of the sort to get it to match. So I have a growing collection of colored pencils, trying to get the pencils to match what I do. I mean, that is the advantage of those new colors with that if you want to water them down and make them into watercolor, you can, and you can also use them as the pure crayon, but the color's going to match because it's coming from the same material versus two totally different brands altogether. I am struggling to get this to stick down. I decided I was going to put the pan pastel down, but now everything's struggling to stick down because it's powdery, and so I'm fighting the powder instead. I may end up doing something a little bit different. If my wife is watching upstairs, I'm going to use some matte medium.
Wait, which part of the drawing are you at? Is that the body of the
This is going to be the body. I'm building the body off of the page because I'm going to let the white of the background stay. And so I have to build it off of it, but I'm going to cut it out in the end. But it's just some of this is not sticking the way that I want it to. And so I'm going to use a medium that I don't use very often to try to get it to stay or adhere a little better. Part of the challenge, and this is, I think, a me issue with collage, is my work doesn't really start to come together until the end. because I have to build
Okay.
so many pieces and stick stuff down. And like right now, it looks like just some swatches put down, but eventually this will turn into said caterpillar. Um, but
Are
it's
you
gonna be a while.
gonna make the bike at the very end?
I need to get the caterpillar in first so I can figure out what scale to make the bike. That's the issue. I don't know what scale anything is until I figure out the scale of the caterpillar, and then it will all come together hopefully in a beautiful menagerie of texture and color. But I feel like when people are on here sometimes and they jump off early, I'm like still in the process of just making swatches, and I haven't even started the actual like finished product. But it's the way that it works. So
Well,
how,
I gotta say that I admire you that you can gab and doodle.
you're doing a good job. You said before we started that you were like nervous, or I forget what it was that you DM'd me
Yeah.
about starting like me. You've been doing fabulous. I
Well, thank you.
I know it takes time. I know it takes time to get used to it, and I've been doing it longer than everybody else has because I've been doing this for so long. But
How many years have you been doing this?
the actual Gavin Doodle stuff I've been doing for I think we're coming up on. Has it been four? This no. I guess we just passed 3 years in March or somewhere around there. So it will be 4 years once we get to spring. So I guess that's a ways away because we're still in summer. Never mind. That's a backwards way to look at it. But we're up past like 170 shows, and so it's sort of I'm accustomed to it. And for everybody guest wise that we have on, generally it's their first time working and talking, and so it's to be expected that not everybody's going to take to it perfectly. Um, but you have done very, very well, especially because this isn't your native language. That
Yeah.
you're having to not only talk but translate uh, in your head. Actually, can I ask you that question?
Yeah.
Oh, because I can only speak one language. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not bilingual of any sort. And you're in Spain,
Yeah.
and uh, you're speaking to me in English, and then you're also uh, have your history with Slovenia. When you're talking, are you having to actively translate in your head what's
No,
being said?
no, that doesn't work for me. I When I started learning Spanish, I I did it through Duolingo, by the way.
Oh, really?
And at one point, I realized that the Spanish on Duolingo is actually Latin American Spanish.
Oh,
So some of the words I didn't use correctly.
okay.
So then I deleted that app and I said, okay, I'm just gonna learn from books or whatever.
Yeah.
And I realized that for me, because in school in the past, I tried to learn French and Korean. I had Latin in high school and I also learned German, but I've never learned those languages. I can't, I mean, I understand a lot of German, but I cannot actively use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I realized that it's not really the language, but the way I learn it. I cannot do it through a book. So I learned Spanish as a little baby. You learn a new word and you start using it, and then you start making sentences, even if they are broken. You just try and try, and it's very it boosts your confidence when you realize that people actually understand you when you speak a foreign language.
Yeah. Do you feel
So
like you're somewhat fluent at this point?
no, I mean I can speak. I can go to a store and order something, or
Yeah.
I can talk to people, but I don't feel confident enough, and I'm very far away from being fluent.
And you're
But
you're
the
way
trick
ahead of me.
is the trick for me is not to translate. It's best to just use the words that I know and just not to, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe just you shouldn't think.
Sort of let it come naturally versus. Well, what's funny is
Yeah.
like I was over in France a few summers ago, and um, I remember thinking at the time like, oh, I don't know how to say anything in French, even though I did some Duolingo and tried to pick up on some of it.
Mm.
But then when I was at a store and I was buying some stuff, there was a moment where I was like, oh, I kind of know what this says, even though
Mm.
I couldn't really speak it. Like there was some sense of this word is close enough to something that I know, and I can wrap my head around that at least, and build a sort of semi understanding of what's being said. It's one of those things where like when people are bilingual, trilingual, whatever it is, I've just never been able to do that, and so like it's so out there for me to understand like how your brain processes that much information, because my brain
Mm.
does not work that way of any sort. Um,
Yeah. I think the tricky part is that when you are an adult and you start learning a new language, you cannot say everything that you can think.
mm,
So if you try to translate, for example, if I translate from my mother tongue into Spanish, it will be very difficult.
yeah, because you know what you're missing.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also the things that like you have to practice actively, you have to talk to real people, and you can only talk about very mundane, stupid stuff like weather and do you want
yeah.
more coffee, or I don't know, do I bake something tonight? You know, it's just these very basic sentences, but you have to start somewhere. So that's
You
the
start off with
trickiest part for
quick.
me because I like um, to ramble, and I like to um, go deep in conversations, but in Spanish, it's impossible at the moment.
Do you now? You've been there for what? Well, you've been there. You said I think, if I remember correctly, 3 years.
Yeah.
And was there a reason for moving there? Was there like work opportunities? Was it family? What?
Um, well, my partner is originally from the village where we live now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we both lived in Ljubljana for some time, where we also met, and then we just decided to move here.
So you have someone that can help walk you through some of the hurdles of language
Yeah.
as you go along if you need. Then okay, that
Yeah.
makes more sense. I always that's the other thing is like the amount of people, and this is going to be me sounding super American again. But the amount of people who are like willing to just pick up and move to a totally different country without like a wealth of knowledge of how that country operates or the language or whatever is so strange to me, because I am not good with any of that. I'm not good with change in general. And
Mm,
then to have that come into play, I'm like, oh, I would not want to move. Like I love the idea of moving to Spain, but I know that it would be way too challenging at the beginning for me. Um,
yeah.
and so I can't just pack up and move like that. But
I actually didn't expect that for me either. Like I've never even dreamt about moving abroad. I
yeah,
had no idea where I want to live or do in my life. I was just drawing all the time. And and then it turned out to be very easy. And I like to think that it was easy because it was the right thing to do.
yeah, fate.
Yeah, yeah, if you believe in fate, it might be that.
Yeah,
It's just the first time that I was in this village where I live, it was just, I just felt really, really good here. I still don't know why, but it just felt good.
oh, I just moved my camera by accident. I caught a cord. Um, do they have good cooking there?
Yeah,
I bet they have amazing food
yeah.
compared to at least here. What was it? Is your partner in the arts?
No, no, not at all.
So they just
But
put up with you being an artist in the background.
yeah, I guess. I guess.
They 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 put up with all your crazy ideas that you throw out there and say, I want to do this today and I want to try that.
Yeah,
Um,
lately I am slightly annoying her by reading my manuscripts
yeah.
for this little pig that I'm drawing. So before we go to bed, I just bring my laptop and I'm reading what I wrote that day. So
Wait, you're reading it to her or reading it?
yeah.
Okay, so it's not that you're just like she's in the background trying to sleep and you're going, here's the story and I'm going to read it out loud to you. Uh, you're not
Well,
interrupting her.
I start reading, and then while I'm in the middle, and you have to know these stories are less than 500 words long.
Yeah.
In the middle of the first story, I see that she can't, and then she's already sleepy, and then I start reading the second one, and I ask her if I can read another one, and she's like, yeah, yeah, but I don't think she's listening.
She's already gone at that point. Well, you got to make your stories more exciting.
Yeah,
Thing.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
Like, I'm trying to write funny stories,
Yeah.
and she at first she laughs at the right time, but then I don't know. Is it sleepiness taking over, or is it just not funny anymore?
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. This is you have to make those calls as depending on the situation on how closed are her eyes versus being
Yeah.
open versus the chuckles versus sort of the half asleep sort of yeah. Um, is there with mentioning the idea of reading the story to your partner? Um, do they have a good sense um, of storytelling? Like, are they invested in this in the same way that you are? Like, my wife is very much a reader and loves stories now, and probably reads more books than I do on a regular basis without question. Um, and so it's nice that like when I say or show something, she can go like, oh, that's working or that's not working, um,
Oh.
in some manner. But does your partner get involved in your
Uh.
career?
No, I don't think so. Not in that sense.
Yeah.
But I like to have her um as a way to test if it's like complete crap, or if it's like, okay, you can send that to your agent.
Well, there's complete crap or it's okay crap. That's the yeah.
Yeah, it's crap. At first, it's always crap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crap, but it's a question of whether it's passable or not.
Yeah.
You go along. Um, and so, talk to me a little bit about the writing side of things, because as artists, oftentimes, or at least in my experience, there was a lot of where's the color that I had before? There is a lot of being able to draw and to make and whatnot, and then you get to the writing side, and all of a sudden it's very foreign, it's very different and strange, and I don't always know where the story's going, or the training was not there in the same way. And I'm wondering, did you have that same experience, or because you're not coming from a school background, it was just all sort of together in some manner?
Oof. Every time I start writing, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Is
When
it
you're drawing, you know that maybe a quick sketch is always a good way to start, and then maybe you just dig in, or maybe you refine that sketch, or there is usually some steps that we do, I guess.
yeah.
But with writing, I have no idea.
My challenge, and I think this probably will make sense to you. My challenge is with art, I know how to edit and I know how to change it on the
Uh-huh.
fly.
Yeah.
And writing is not that easy for me to make those corrections. Um, like I can make a mistake in art and go, oh, that's how I fix it within a second. But
Yeah.
writing is like a whole different ball game, because I'm not an expert with words of any
Yeah.
sort. Now, are you, because you wrote Pico Paco, the other one that you did prior in Slovenia was someone else's. text.
Yeah.
With the pig one, you're trying to write that, right? That's not a
Yeah.
piece that someone else sort of came up with first.
Yeah.
And is there, are you still doing the same method of sort of drawing first and then figuring out what the story or the text is going to be after the fact?
No, I'm just writing. Um, I actually I had an idea for a picture book at first that I was trying to figure out for the past, I don't know how many months, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't going anywhere. And then we with my agent helps me and she gives me really good advice and all, and then we just moved the at first it was happening in one place and then we moved to another place, maybe that would make it work, and then I just had no idea like what to do, how to write, should I sketch, and I started drawing the thumbnails, if maybe with drawings I will move forward, but it just wasn't working. And I told my agent that I'm just gonna leave that story in my drawer for some time because I'm just frustrated and I
Yeah.
don't want creating to be that hard. And I had this pig already in my head during that time when I was giving up on that draft. And
Okay.
my agent told me, she just gave me a suggestion that maybe I shouldn't be sticking to a picture book form. Maybe what I want to do is a chapter book.
Gotcha.
And really, my brain literally went, can I do that? Like,
Yeah.
do I have a permission to do that?
Yeah.
So I'm already writing these short stories for Mr. Mole for that Celine magazine that I mentioned before, and I'm not struggling writing that. It's as if the character already exists by themselves, and I'm just here telling her story, and it just feels much easier. And now I'm trying to do the same thing with the pig, so I'm just writing down ideas I have and trying to figure out what all the other characters will do.
Yeah. Sort of let it
Um,
let
and
it
then
turn
I'm
into
writing these
what it needs
stories
to be.
that I'm reading to my partner, and yeah.
That's I like the thought process and the like. One of the things I need to I'm I struggle with trying to make the book that I think others want
Mm,
versus the book that I think or the book that needs to naturally be made.
yeah.
And so there's always that challenge of like, who is this book for? Is it for me or is it for the publisher? Is it for, you know, what have you? And so there's this challenge of predefining what it is I'm actually making. And so I like that idea of that you're sort of um, not worrying as much about
Mm.
sort of the fine details and just get the story down and figure it out from there. Um, and
Do you, can I ask you, do you ever feel pressure like when one book is published and you're already working on the next one? Do you feel pressure like that you have to be even better with this next one that you were with the previous one?
yeah, I think I mean the idea is to improve constantly, and so
Mm,
there's always this like, am I improving in the right way?
yeah.
Question that pops up in my head. Like, I mean, one of the challenges I'm having right now, or I shouldn't say it's a challenge. I actually think it's helping me. But I have been I've been painting all of my books prior, and now I'm finally doing collage um, for a book. And there's challenges like I have to learn how to create the book again because
Mm-hmm.
it's not as the method in which I'm making it very different from what it has been in the past. But there is this thought in the back of my head of like, is this the right direction? What happens if this goes horribly wrong? Is someone going to be upset if this doesn't look like the rest of my work? Like
Ah.
there are some sort of mental gymnastics that I do when I'm making that book that I know could be a little bit easier if I just stuck to the same sort of method. But I also feel like that's kind of the death knell of me as an artist.
Hmm. That makes
It,
sense.
yeah, so it's I wouldn't say that it's like I think it's good to change, and if people are uh, if people like your work, they will be willing to see through all the little um, changes and still see you in it. And
Mm-hmm.
so my assumption is that even though I'm doing something that's slightly different, I'm getting better as I go, and people will understand and say, oh, that is, that's for the better that this piece is being made this way, or that
Mm.
this decision was made to stylize it in this direction, or what have you.
Yeah.
Do you have those kind of like? I mean, it sounds to me like you're asking questions that are sort of these like philosophical questions of, am I doing what's right? Am I? And I think I have the same questions all the time of, is this the best thing for me, or is there something else out there I need to be doing? Um, and I don't know as there's a beautiful like answer that says this is the perfect solution to those problems, but I think that it's good to ask those questions periodically because it will inherently make you um, adapt and become better over time. But that may be me talking out my butt too, so bear with it. Um, what I haven't even looked up to see if there's questions here. Are there things that you are um, looking at when you make your characters? Like, again, I'm going to go back to this. I swear, and I know it may be hard to hear, but I think your characters are the most adorable little things every single time, and like can't miss ever. And but there is some understanding or some making process that when you're working, I'm sure you're going through, in the sense of like, this shape is a better shape than this one, or these colors work better together here or there. And I'm wondering, is there any sort of like pattern, or is it really just uh, you're testing it out, and some days it works, some days it doesn't, kind of situation? How do you create your characters? I guess it's the easiest way to ask that question.
Oh, I usually meet the character on the paper. Like, for
Okay.
example, in I will show you here in Pico Paco, there is one mole. Wait, there is one mole that appears in the middle of the story. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Can you see it? Like here, talking to this pigeon,
Give me a second because there's a delay. Oh, yes, yes. Yep.
right? And then I drew him one. Oh, actually, it's more in the beginning as well. It's the same mole here, listening to the music. And it's not this exact mole, but this is the mole that made me draw the Mr. Mole character. When I was trying to figure out how to color all the other characters in Pico Paco, I was drawing them first, testing them on in my sketchbook,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to color the mole because all the black birds are actually blue in this book, like Pico Paco. The woodpeckers
Yep.
are black, like dark gray color, but I switched that color to blue. And I was thinking how to color a mole if I don't want any grays or any black. And I was just testing stuff out, and I drew this really cute mole, a super, super small mole. And I just really, really liked him. And I put him aside and I was thinking, okay, maybe one day I can do something with that one. And that's how I did Mr. Mole. So it's usually when I it's not intentional, but it's just some side characters that appear on the paper, and there's just something about them that makes me like them.
Yeah, sparks your interest.
Yeah.
Well, are you someone who starts with a lot of like shape language and tries to figure out sort of the silhouette of a character first? Or is it sort of, you know, are you a detail person? Where do you come up with the actual structure in which you make those characters?
I usually start with the face. I think the eyes and the nose, I start there, and then I keep on changing the shape of the head or the body, and then when I get it just right, I try to continue following that direction. I
Yeah.
can I can show you here with this pig that I'm drawing. Um, Again, I don't know how much. I don't think my drawing shows really well on the camera. You know, but here is a page full of pigs, for example, and they
Oh,
all have slightly different heads. Most of them have quite similar eyes, but then the nose, the what do you call pig's nose?
snout.
The snout
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
And then you get, for example, if they have little oval heads like these two here, they're twins. They look super young and cute.
Yeah. They have the
Yeah,
same like genetic lineage because
yeah,
of the same shape. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe oh, these are difficult questions, Mark.
You're answering them really well. You are not you're answering them where you're not dodging these real tough, hard hitting questions. Um, is there when you're working on stuff like this, um, is there a moment that you go like, oh, this is not working, or this is not the right direction for the project?
Uh, yeah. When it comes to picture books, for example, um, I'm always very, very focused on characters, and then in picture books, you have to have a bit of background,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And then I'm like, oh god, like I have no idea what I'm doing.
But your background
And I'm just
really.
always praying that no one's gonna figure out that my backgrounds are a bit weak
Oh, I
in
didn't.
comparison with my characters.
I
And then I
never
have to
would have. I never would have said that about your work. I would never would have thought like,
really?
oh, yeah,
Oh,
they
then
feel
I'm faking it really well.
no. Like I worry that mine are so simple most of the time. Like I tend to partially it's because the materials. Like collage is hard to do little tiny details, but
Mm.
I always look at yours and go like, oh, you have all these little like nuances of each leaf is drawn out or whatever it may be, and then I look at mine and I go, oh, mine's missing half of the fun in the
Oh.
situation. And so I'm always impressed with your background. So I won't ever go, oh, this isn't working out.
I think we all see our own work very weirdly. Like,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
very true. I I see the worst in mine. You see the worst in yours, and we can't ever like step back and actually see it for what it truly is. Um, but no, I always look at yours and go like, oh, you have such good like everything on yours feels very flushed out and full. I guess the way to put it. And
Mm.
so I've never even entertained the idea that that your backgrounds are inferior in any shape or form. So get that thought out of your head. How dare you? How dare you?
Actually, the last book project I had, um, I was I decided to draw it digitally
Okay.
because why not? And Not that I was very confident at it, but I just thought like, okay, I'm just gonna draw digitally now. And I did. I think it was we had everything planned out. I drew maybe 3 spreads, or yeah, something like that. And my art director, she went like, you know what, something's not working, isn't it? And I said, yeah, like I'm having a weird feeling all the time, but you feel like it's it's not working, but you cannot point out what
Yeah.
exactly doesn't work. And she asked me if I can just try making one spread how I usually draw, so with how I'm doing it right now. And I thought, okay, I'm just gonna try it. And I randomly said to her, like, can I use toned paper? Like, why
Yeah.
not?
Your base.
And
Yeah.
I just grabbed that brown paper and I started drawing on it. And I was like, exactly. Like I just had to switch to a different medium and everything just flew.
Yeah.
And
Just
I
a
asked
tiny
her, like,
little
but
thing.
how did you know, like, that I should switch back to traditional? And she said, I don't know, but it's just maybe when I draw digitally, my lines, the details, the texture is missing. And yeah, I mean, she's a great art director, so of course she knew what she was talking about. But this
Or
was like the last time that I really had to stop and think and say, okay, I'm really not going into the right direction. And it was painful to redraw everything that was already done.
was this is a book that's coming out soon?
Yeah, next year, early
Oh, this
next
is the one
year.
that's coming out in February or
Yeah,
whatever that
yeah.
is. Gotcha.
You will see the lovely brown paper.
No, I'm excited. I was talking with someone last night about that idea of like just starting out with something that's toned, like a paper texture. Like if you're a digital person, starting out with something that has that sort of toned paper effect right off the bat, it sort of sets the mood for a piece that sometimes a flat tone can't do. So like having something that feels like it's got some texture, or having something that has that sort of like that approach can make such a big difference in the final production of the
Yeah,
artwork. And so no,
yeah.
that totally makes sense. I'm man, this bike is gonna be a nightmare. I'm starting to make the bike and I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be rough.
I
Uh,
love I love all the colors on the caterpillar.
yeah, they need to be unified a little better than what they are right now, but they'll get there. They will get there.
Will you make the legs as colorful as well?
I'll probably do them darker,
Mm.
not quite as dark because I want to put little knee pads and stuff on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but maybe, oh man, no, I don't want to. I was gonna say, should I put little a helmet on the head and then a helmet on this hump and a helmet on this hump and a helmet on the end? But that might be a little too confusing. So I'll probably just do the helmet on the front. Um, but that idea of like the helmet and knee pads, I think is funny, and so I'm gonna push to get that in there. But I need the legs to be light enough so those knee pads show up. Otherwise,
Mm.
we're gonna have issues. Um, when you're coming up with ideas, like the idea of working and pitching the stuff to your partner. Obviously, there's some like there's some things that are duds. There's some things that are um, not going to work out. But how do you know? How do you know when it's not right? Is it just because your partner goes, "That sucks," or is it because there's uh, uh, a distinct like this isn't I don't know like bearing fruit the way that you envision in your head?
You mean for like book projects or
Yeah,
more
for
for?
or any illustration or any sort of project. Is there a moment like one of the things I've asked a lot of people on here before is just that idea of if you're working on a project, there's a moment where you have to either start over or change the project, but it also requires you to know that it's working or it's not working, or that there's potential or there's not potential. And everybody has their own sort of like mentality as to when that point is, or what is the point to cut bait and run away. And I'm wondering, do you have something that tells you, like in my case, if I'm not having fun, generally that means something's wrong, something's horribly wrong, and I need to start over. I need to rethink said project.
Yeah, it's when you feel like you are not doing it for yourself anymore,
Okay.
but to impress the editor or future audience or something like that.
Yeah. And so is there when you're working, are you always trying to maintain, like, I guess I'm asking questions because I have a method or a thought process, and then other people may be totally opposite, but I've always had the mentality that I want to be having fun while I'm making. And it can be a struggle, but I want to be, goofing around essentially as I'm making. And then I know other people who are like, they want it to be almost pain. They gotta feel it. They gotta unearth something as they're making. And that is not my cup of tea. I don't want to be fighting my artwork the whole time. But
Yeah.
are you someone who likes that sort of like the living in the land of the cute and everything's happy, or do you like to have a little bit of struggle as you make?
No, I prefer being on the happy side.
Yeah.
It's
I would assume most kidlit people are, and it's the real fine artists who are going like, no, I want to live my artwork and feel it.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
I don't want drawing to be hard. I mean, life already is hard enough in many ways. And this is like my little bubble. And I'm doing this because I feel good doing it. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to maintain that. Also, when I draw, I don't like to make a lot of refined sketches, because then I feel like I already put too much pressure on myself. Like I
Yep.
have to stick inside my own rules, and I don't like that. So, like right now, for example, I was drawing this octopus, and I realized that in the rough sketch with the pencil that I did in the beginning, I only had 6 legs. How do you call the tentacles? Something like that.
Wait, on the pig?
On the octopus.
Oh, on the octopus. Yeah, tentacles.
Yeah, so there should be 8, and I only sketched 6, and I just
Okay.
added them like randomly, hoping that the colors I'm choosing are working. I don't know, but it just is. I think it's really difficult to draw like little kids do when they just don't judge what they're doing.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
just enjoying it. So I'm trying to experience that, although I find it completely impossible. But
Yeah, no, that's my goal. It's actually
yeah,
the phrasing that I've used before. It's like I want to get back to the point where like little kids do this, and it comes so easy for them. And yeah, they don't judge themselves before they make, and that's not easy for an artist to do, because we're so built into this idea of like your self-worth and uh, your need for success often outweighs your ability to just think on your feet, play, and things of the sort. How often do you get to play, like artistically?
I am playing right now.
Okay, but I mean, do you do this regularly? Do you sit down and sketch and make and figure stuff out as you want, or do you tend to always have some project on your plate?
Unfortunately, I don't allow myself enough time to play.
Yeah.
Because I think in general, when I draw, I am quite slow, and I feel like the time is always running over me, especially when I'm working on book projects. But I do have like a diary, which is a sketchbook diary,
Okay.
and I try to draw at least 2 or 3 times per week in that little sketchbook, and it's like checking a box, like, oh, I drew something for myself.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a therapy.
Yeah,
It's like a moment where you're like, okay, I took care of myself. Now I can move on to uh
yeah.
the next challenge or whatnot. Um, I'm deciding. I'm trying to figure out if I want these wheels to be a little. That one's too round. Um, Sorry, I'm talking to myself in the background, trying to figure out sort of proportion on wheels for this bicycle, so it looks a little silly.
Well, you might invent a new bicycle
I mean,
design.
yeah, a I don't even know how many pedals I'm going to put on this thing. It really depends on how many legs show up. But I will figure it out. I also don't know how I'm going to do the gears and the pedals. That's going to be a nightmare to do in here, but I will get them done.
I'm only wishing you good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know why you chose this one. This is the tougher of the two, but we're gonna get it done. We're gonna manage it. Um, who are you looking at, kidlit wise? Who are the or I'll open the door. Who else are you looking at art wise?
Oh, like who are my? How do
Who
you
are your
say?
heroes?
I really love Rebecca Green's art.
Ah, yes.
Um,
She's the one that introduced me to pan pastels.
oh, really?
Yeah, I wrote her at one point and um, asked her about sort of her process, and she said, "Oh, try these," and it was pan pastels that she was using, and I was like, "Ooh, let me see what's happening here." And I went out and bought some and used them on the next book that I worked on, and um, I have not used them as much since, but they are definitely a fun material to play with. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, she was like gouache, pan pastels, and colored pencils, and that's sort of what I was using for a bit. Um, who else you got on that list? Hit me. The
Let me think. Oh God. Um, Now I feel under pressure.
Well, let me ask you this then: do you have a big collection
A
of
big
books at home
collection of what?
of picture books?
Uh, it's not big. It's relatively small. Um, when it comes to picture books, I usually read them in the library,
Okay.
and I leave them there. But I'm growing um a bit larger collection of chapter books, and it's mostly because I can read them in Spanish because I'm now in I can speak like 8 years old Spanish kid.
And so that's the age of book that makes it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of it grew into some sort of obsession now, like this year, because I figured out that I can read books that kids that age read, and I feel very proud of myself. So now I keep on buying books,
Is
but
there is there anybody in particular that, or any books in particular that you've really loved since figuring
yeah.
that out?
um I see my partner is watching this, so now she's gonna laugh. But um, there is one book without. I will show it because I have it here. It's from Llanos Campos. It's one Spanish author, and It's a series of 3 books about Barracuda, who is this captain of a pirate ship. And I found this book in the library, and the reason I borrowed it was because Marta Altés, who is the
Mm-hmm.
illustrator. I really like her work, and I recognized her style, and I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna pick this one up." And I started reading it, and it was very, very difficult to understand. And the first chapter was quite difficult, and I was like, "Okay," but I managed. So I finished the book, And as I finished it, I realized that I was actually reading book 2, not book 1.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's why the beginning of the book didn't make any sense. Okay, and then I grabbed the first book, and then later on I read the third one, and I really, really like this book. And it's a little bit like the, how is it called? Like the Pirates in the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean.
It has this kind of whimsy, quirky, lots of adventures, lots of extreme situations, but it's so well written. And yeah, that's my favorite one at the moment.
I see Tom Booth, who is a amazing kidlit illustrator, um, wrote a question for you. That's a really interesting question because it is something that people have told me to do, and you sort of do it. And but the question is, how does Mojca feel about maintaining a newsletter? Is it a fun creative exercise? Does it have its own challenges compared to other creative projects?
Oh, that's a good one.
Like it's one of those ones where like it sounds fun, like the idea of having something like that, but then the maintenance and the challenge of continuously working on that uh, does not appeal to me because I know I will drop it after like a day or two.
I wanted to drop it many times, to be honest, because I asked myself, like, why would anyone want to read what I'm doing every month? Like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
But then,
Wait, no, who cares? Everybody cares.
yeah, well, actually, it's, if I read my own newsletters from the past months or past year,
Yeah.
it's actually a really good reminder of all the things I've been through work-wise. And in a sense, it's kind of like keeping a diary
Yeah.
and
Is
just,
it? Do you feel a responsibility to like maintain it constantly?
no, I don't feel any pressure.
Okay. That's
I think
that's
it's
my
good.
fear with all those things is I would forget it and then all of a sudden it'd be the last post would be like from 4 years ago and people go like, oh, okay, I guess he doesn't care about this anymore.
It's a bit about the growing a habit, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just something you do at the end of every month. Sometimes it takes me way too much time to finish writing it. Or sometimes I feel like I have nothing to say, although I did a lot of things, but I feel like there is nothing to say. But in a way, it's also a good way to practice writing, because it's
Yeah.
not like I'm writing a picture book, or also kids are not the audience. So it feels like I'm practicing a different kind of writing. So that's also nice, I guess.
The the especially like early days of some websites and whatnot, there was lots of like, I'm gonna put a calendar of all the events that I have going on and all these things, and I just like I could never maintain any of that, and so I just very quickly dropped it. And now Patreon and Substack and all these things are like basically the same thing. Like, here's all the stuff that's happening, and here's, you know, tune in, pay me a little bit to get behind the scenes. And I think I missed the boat, or maybe I didn't miss the boat. Maybe I intentionally stayed ashore as the boat
Yeah.
left. My wife asked, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but the illustrator of that pirate book
Yeah.
that you showed, do you remember who the illustrator is, so she can document it?
Marta Altés.
Marta Altés. Okay. Hopefully
I
she heard
can
that.
maybe with the delay, I don't know if it shows. I could
It
actually
will.
write a comment, no?
Yeah, you can write a comment. Yeah.
Okay, I will
Put it up
write
there
it.
for everybody that wants
I
to.
will write it through my personal account, by the way, so ignore that.
Is there? Wait a second. Did you try to at the beginning of this? Did you ask to be invited on your personal account?
No.
Okay, because someone else asked to be invited into this, and I didn't recognize it. And then I was like, I don't know who that is. And I was thinking maybe, because it started with an M, I thought maybe there's a chance it was you.
I
But
did ask to join, but it was through this Mokulare
yeah,
profile.
Okay, so that's totally different. That I just
Yeah.
there was someone that I think people accidentally hit the button saying they want to join, and then it's this.
Yeah.
I don't know if they really think that I'm just going to let them in and be like, hey, come join us for the talk for however long. But I think it's just because it's close by to the comment section.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put one more little gear in here. I'm not looking forward to figuring out all these gears on this bike. Do you think I should put like a cape or something on this Caterpillar too? Like little kid?
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh, that's gonna be smaller. I'm trying to figure out if there's like something that should be up here. Maybe it just has a word, like text that goes along it that I can write in later that will say something. It'll
Also.
say like, I'm trying to think of like pedal harder, pedal faster. Something. There's some like cheeky little way that I can put something like that in, but there's
Yeah,
my
you could do
gears.
that.
They're gonna be gears eventually. With scarf. Someone said a scarf. Oh, Bear Edwards said scarf. Yeah, I could put a scarf on, or I could
Oh
put
yeah, and it's floating in the air. That's a good one.
yeah, something that sort of draws the eye back that direction. Um, the with you sketching, are there characters in particular? I mean, obviously the mole is a character that you've been drawing for a while, but are there characters that you tend to lean on? Like as I was sketching today before we started, I was like, oh, what should I draw? And I immediately was like, oh, I should draw a bear, but I always want to draw a bear, and I have to force myself to try drawing other things. Are there like animals or critters that you just go like, oh, I draw that all the time in a positive or negative light?
Oh, wait, let me see.
That's not like, I mean, obviously the mole character you have to maintain that
Yeah.
that's a project and that needs maintenance there. But like, I tend to lean on elephants, rabbits, and bears, and I feel like I need to vary that up more on a regular basis. But I'm wondering, is that just a me thing that I worry too much about, sort of what critters I'm drawing?
But do you always draw them in the same style?
Um, Not
Like if
necessarily.
you put all the bears that you drew in the past months, if you put them together, could they fit together, or do you
No,
change them?
no, I changed them. I mean, there are similarities, like the type of ear that I draw or something like that might look similar. So I do think they look different, but I just worry that they're like, someone's going to look at it and go, oh, he can only draw bears, or he can only draw elephants, or whatever it may be. And so I try to like separate, or like I will do searches sometimes before I work on a piece of artwork of like, what are other cute animals? And try to find ones that I'm like, oh, I haven't done a whatever, a bumblebee. Actually, have I ever done a bumblebee?
You know what? You actually, I wanted to show you something because in 2021 you did the draw this in your style, and you
Yeah.
drew, I don't know if it was a bumblebee or if it was a bee. And
Oh, the Halloween one?
yeah,
Yeah, there
look,
was
I
there was
drew it as well, but I don't think I ever posted it.
yeah, there was a kid in a bumblebee costume. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. So I did do a bumblebee, but that's adorable.
yeah.
You had that just sitting there?
I was looking for it today because I remembered I was actually doing a bit of homework and I was scrolling through your Instagram trying to figure out what was the first thing I saw from you.
And that was it?
And no, I was scrolling even further down and there was one elephant and a taxi.
Oh yeah, that was very early on. That was years ago. I mean, that had to have been like 2016, 2017
Really?
or something. Yeah, you went way back in Instagram.
Yeah, and then at one point I couldn't really recognize your style anymore. So I said, okay, no, that's not that. I went too far.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you went back.
it was that elephant and that beautiful yellow taxi in the back, and I think it was that illustration that was maybe the moment when I started following you.
Uh, well, thank you. That's a good challenge to go back and see like what was the first thing I remember for you. I never really thought about like diving in that kind of direction into stuff. Um, I yeah, no, that was that image I made like digitally with like swatches of. I mean, it's not too far off from what I'm doing now, but it was a totally different process. And if you go back far enough, you'll see some weird things that should not be on my Instagram that just like do not, I don't mean weird in like a bad way, but just like do not fit what I'm doing today. But I was also not really doing a lot of kidlit at the time, and there
Mm.
is, there is a there were some weird years in there. Let's put it that
If
way.
if
What
someone would hire you to draw something in the way you drew back then, would you do it?
no. I did have an instance, and I think I've talked about it on here before. So if anybody's heard this before, bear with it. But I did have an instance where my first postcard that I did, like promotional postcard when I got out of school, um, was this. I don't even have the image around here. I have it at school for teaching purposes, but it was a uh, bunch of robots sitting in a theater with 3D glasses on,
Mm.
and I was really proud of it at the time. And the postcard I sent out to all these publishers and whatnot, and I got a gig or two out of it. But um, I got a request like 10 years after that from someone saying, "Hey, we have um, this illustration for a magazine that we want you to do." And at the time, I was asking everybody like, "How'd you find me?" and things of that sort. And they mentioned that postcard, and the postcard didn't have a website on it. It didn't have an address that I lived at anymore. Like it had been, 5 years since I lived at that address. It only had a phone number and my name on it.
Mm.
And yet they found me and requested that I work on an illustration. And I did it at the time, one, because it was paid and I needed work, but I did have to have a conversation with them about sort of like what my work looks like now versus what it looked like then. And
Mhm.
is there a way to make sure that stylistically I can adapt it a little bit? And so it was a mixture of stuff. But it's not anything I would ever put in my portfolio. But nowadays, if someone came to me with that kind of request, I would shoot it down pretty quickly.
Mm.
I would not have the interest in diving back that far into my oeuvre of artwork. Let's put it that way. What about you? Would you do the same? Would you say
I
yay
would
or
say
nay?
no. I
Yeah,
would say no. I would ask if I can do it in the current style, but no.
yeah. I there's I would hate to see what I would never want to look at my work if I made something that was using an old style. Like it would just feel
Mm.
gross. And so yeah, no, no, no. Um, but I will say this, and maybe this would be a sentiment that makes sense to you. For those who are trying to break into the industry and you need money and someone offers you something like that, there's no harm in doing it.
Mm.
I don't think, but it is not a decision that I would like to make currently for myself.
Yeah.
Oh no! I just realized I gotta do legs on the other side. The bike has it's so many legs because I put in a bunch of uh, gears without thinking that. Um, oh
But it's okay. You can just ignore the other side of legs.
no, no, I can't. That's the problem. My OCD is gonna take over.
Oh no.
I can't do that. Um, let's see, what else
Do
can I
you
do?
ever, when you do collage, do you ever draw directly on paper? Like maybe
I
if
do, like,
you,
I will do some pencil work. So I have like, that's the other option that I have here is I could draw the legs in, which would be easier than cutting them out.
yeah.
I want to see, because I do have these Posca markers that I could probably
Hmm.
get something out of. It's a question of like how bright they are in comparison to, oh, that's pretty close to that color altogether. Let's do a little test run. Um, yeah, just it's like drawing a spider, and then all of a sudden you realize you've only put in 2 legs, and you have to figure out where the other 6 go. I'm at that point. Um, how often do you make mistakes?
Oh, all the time.
But
And
I mean, like, are you making huge mistakes, or are you making just little tiny mistakes that are easy to correct?
I usually make tiny mistakes, and I often just leave them because it, sometimes when you make a mistake, it actually turns out to be better
Yeah.
than what you were trying to do. So, like with the legs of your caterpillar, maybe they will look really good if you draw them directly on paper.
Maybe. Maybe. Um, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can figure out like maybe I just do it with like maybe I just do it with this, just pure paint and put them in and call it a day. Um, yeah, I'll figure it out. It is not your problem. It is not your fight to fight, but I will figure out something to do with it. So tell me a little bit about sort of your hopes and dreams artistically. Like, are there certain goals that you're setting for yourself that you would like to achieve, uh, either in the kidlit world or just as an artist?
Oh,
Tough question. Tough question. I know.
I actually don't have any.
I don't know as you need to have any. Don't take that as like, man, you are not thinking ahead. But it's one of those things where like, I have the goal to have something that's maybe a little bit longer form book at some point, or
Hmm,
little things like that, but
hmm.
not groundbreaking in any way.
I would have to think about that. Just, well, okay, one dream is to be able to do this all my life,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's not always financially easy to have
Are
this
you
job.
saying that kidlit people don't make as much money as they should? That,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also, I
Yep.
think it depends a lot where you live and for which market you're working. I think there's a lot of factors.
I mean,
Um,
I have heard that the European market for kidlit is they don't pay as much at all. Um, and I don't know if that's like an exchange rate. I don't know if that's just the publishers themselves, but I've heard that in the
compared
past.
to
I don't
the
know.
American market.
Compared to the American one, yeah.
Mm,
At some point we can talk numbers behind the scenes, not right now.
yeah.
Behind the scenes we can sort of say, hey, this is how much I got. Does this make sense?
Mhm.
I mean, I did some work for a publisher that was a UK publisher, and it was shockingly low. But the project itself, the royalties have far surpassed that. So it's not, and I knew that going in that
Mhm.
it would do well on the royalty side. But I don't know if that's just that publisher or if that's like a UK thing or what's going on there. But no, I've heard all sorts of interesting stories about pricing depending on where you live. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, let's not talk numbers right now.
Yeah.
That's I'm
But
sure
that's
people would want
that's
to know, but
that would be a dream, like to be paid well and to just,
yeah,
you know, do this
to do this
till the
until
end.
the end, yeah. The
Yeah.
I would like to be able to retire off this money. That's
Oh
the
yeah.
and right now it's not at that point.
But
Uh,
would you actually stop working even if you're retired?
I would I would do something else. Like I would still do kidlit and do things of that sort, but I I would retire from teaching probably. I would retire from the the idea that I had to constantly be working on something in order to
Hmm.
maintain. And I would only take on like specialty projects or things of that sort. Or I've also thought about like just literally, is there a different type of artwork that would be fun? Like it'd be fun to go out and do landscapes. It'd be fun to do that stuff. That's just not something that makes sense for me right now as a goal, just because of the career itself. So,
Yeah.
um, is there a any other artistic things that you do that um, like other types of art besides illustration that show up? Are you doing
Um,
are you doing glass blowing in the background and I don't even know it?
well, that would be cool. Um,
Are you a chocolate maker? Or are you doing those crazy big sculptures of chocolate? Um, like, what are there other artistic dreams outside of illustration in particular, or things that you do?
yeah, I enjoy doing a lot of different things, but I'm trying really hard to keep them as a hobby because once I started drawing professionally, like, when you asked me before if I often play,
Yeah.
and I don't, I feel like that's the fault because I have now paid projects and drawing is not really seen as a hobby anymore.
Mm, mm.
I mean, it's like it's a weird. There's a weird line in between. Um, maybe that's why I'm always trying really hard to enjoy what I'm doing, even if it's commissioned work. But like I really like playing with clay. Um, I can show you here. I have one cup that I did many years ago. Like, I don't know. Can you see it?
Give me 1 second. It's got the delay, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting to pop up here. See your hand going away. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cute.
Maybe the
Wait,
lighting is not perfect,
what's
but
what's in what's in the cup? Does it have hair sticking out the top?
I no, it's just some junk that I have around all the time, and I'm
Oh,
hiding
that's
it because
your.
it's not pretty.
No, no, no. It's your hands. It was the light was bleeding out your hand, and so it was the little shadows in between your fingers that made it look like little hairs on the screen. That was
I
funny. It just looked
I
like
used to
little green.
have a cactus inside, but now he is holding strings and random stuff. So, but he has 3 feet.
I like it. When the pandemic hit, my wife and I started to get into like, can we do ceramics? And we got some stuff to do, like our own little home version of it, like a little miniature potter's wheel, and made little tiny vessels. And at some point, it would be fun to go and actually take a ceramics class. But I guess I could go do it at school. But that's something that would be really fun to partake in at some point.
Yeah, I think the fun part of doing ceramics is when you have your hands dirty and you can't do anything else. Like you cannot grab your phone and start scrolling.
Do you like the constraints of it in particular? That's
Yeah, yeah, but usually your neck starts to hurt because you forget to sit nicely.
yeah.
And yeah,
I got the challenge I had was I always made a bigger mess than what I should have been. I think like I just there was so much clay going everywhere that it became an issue. Part of it is like when throwing on a wheel. Uh,
oh, you did the wheel.
yeah, that it would splatter everywhere, and I'm not one who wants to get paint on my clothes, or not paint, but just things on my clothes, art supplies on my clothes, and so having clay splatter everywhere was not a lot of fun. But
Mm,
it's called I need to wear a bigger apron,
yeah,
and then everything would be fine.
yeah,
Maybe
ceramics
I
is
should make
fun.
some of these legs purple. Maybe I'll do that too. Maybe I'll make a mixture of colors of legs. They don't all have to be the same color.
Oh, like having a set of yellow ones and then a set of purple ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just allow variety to show up in there. Pull from the same palette that I have and just allow them to be weird in their own way. Um, when you make your work, how do you figure out palette? How do you figure out the colors that you use?
I just use the colors I have, like the color pencils and pan pastels or whatever I'm using.
But does that mean that you like do you have a big collection so you have a range to play with, or is that something where you sort of stick to the same palette from project to project?
Uh, I stick to the same set of colors. I don't have that many actually. I just keep on repeating the colors because I like them. Like for example, I always use pink and yellow. Um,
Is it a specific color of pink that you like?
yeah, I like this. I call it peach pink, but maybe it's salmon or this whatever red iron oxide tint.
Yeah.
I like that one. Like the pink that is a little bit more orangey. Um,
That's the challenge, and I with doing mentorships, I've talked to some people about this, that like the challenge of doing traditional work is that as though we can get a bunch of different colors, but it requires mixing, or it requires, you can only get this certain color with this specific brand or
mhm.
things of that sort. And so it does potentially limit our ability um, to get any color on the spectrum. But I also see that as advantageous, that I'm not able to get every color in the world. And so I have to make decisions about sort of what's going to be the best color for said piece at the beginning, potentially based on what I have in stock at the time.
Mm, yeah, that's the thing I hate about digital drawing because there are just infinite amount of options.
Now, do you do a lot? I mean, you said that you tried to do a project digitally,
Yeah,
but are you okay digitally and that just project just didn't feel right? Or is digital a real struggle for you just in general?
I'm not enjoying it that much as I'm enjoying traditional.
Okay.
But I think with that project, it was just that project that it wasn't meant to be drawn digitally. Because when I draw my childhood memories comics, I cannot imagine doing it by hand. I mean, of course I do it by hand if I draw digitally, but
Yeah.
I don't imagine I can't imagine drawing it on
Traditional.
paper, drawing the frames. I think it would take me much longer to finish it, and that is not the point with those comics. I just want to share the story, and I don't want to overcomplicate the composition and the colors and all that.
Yeah. So the
So
the simplicity. What when you do digital, you said Procreate.
yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. I feel it's interesting how many people have switched to Procreate to me um, solely knowing that there is, so many other digital things out there, but I Procreate is so easy to adapt to, I think, for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
It's not even a challenge really. It's so easy to sort of pick it up on the fly and just do without having to do a lot of training like some of the other programs that are out there.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to look in at your piggy pig there. Oh,
I realized that we have a common theme tonight, and
which
it's
is
animals with lots of legs.
because of the octopus up
Yeah.
top. Is now? I don't want you to reveal story too much here, but does the story of the pig have an octopus in it?
Octopus is just his favorite plushie.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's not a real octopus. It's a
No,
gotcha.
yeah, he has a bit of obsession with sea life and stuff like that.
As pigs do. As pigs do.
Yeah,
Um,
and
okay. Yeah, I don't want you to reveal story. I didn't know whether that was a plushie at first or if that was like he actually has a octopus friend that sits on his head. Um, I like it. Also reads a little bit like dreadlocks or like
right, yeah.
hair of some sort that's sitting on top of there. That's cute.
Well, I'm glad you noticed because that was also my intention.
Okay, good. One of the mentees that I have, and if they're listening or watching this, they'll understand this. But every time I would mention one of the characters that they drew, I would mention the wrong animal over and over. That it was supposed to be a groundhog, and I kept calling it a guinea pig, and all these things. And I felt really bad because I was like mislabeling their drawing. And it wasn't that it was a bad drawing. It's just I could not wrap my head around the name of said character or the character they had, and so knowing that that's a plushie makes it a whole lot easier on me at this point to be able to make sense of the drawing. Let's put it that way, because I would have just assumed it was a real octopus at the time. So tell me a little bit about the place that you live in, Spain. Is it a tiny little town, or is it?
Yeah, it's a tiny village.
How tiny are we talking? Like a few hundred people, a few
Uh,
thousand people.
well, I think the people that actually live here throughout the year, it's definitely less than 100.
Oh man, so it is tiny.
Yeah, I think around here there are definitely more cows and sheep.
Than people.
Yeah.
But I assume it's pretty quaint and quiet and
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
And do
All
you,
these words at once.
yeah, do you, is it where your partner grew up? Is that what you
Yeah,
said before?
yeah.
So you have like a built-in relationship with said town prior without having to like, or at least some knowledge of that space.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
oh,
her parents also live here, so yeah, we're not like complete strangers.
wait a second. Is that a good thing that her parents also live there?
Yeah, we
Okay.
actually live in their house at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's temporary, but yeah,
Are they in the
that's a
background
that's
right
a good
now?
thing.
Are they in the background listening to this right now and questioning our
I I
decisions?
hope not because they're probably asleep already, and I hope I'm not disturbing them.
Oh yeah, good. Um, I do, this is going to be a weird question. This is called cultural corner here for me. Is the town small enough that you have to like travel a long distance to get things like groceries and stuff, or does it have a robust
Mm,
enough economy?
it's quite close to the main city, like 30-minute drive with a car. So it does feel what is the word?
Like,
It does feel like it's in the middle of nowhere,
okay,
but it's actually not. Like it's quite well connected with other cities. And
what's
also
the
in the next village, like that's maybe 15 minutes away if you go by bike. There is a little shop and bank and stuff like that. So
what's the next big village or next big city then? Like, are you near
it,
Barcelona or
oh
Barcelona?
no, I'm in the central part of the peninsula, but more up in the north,
Okay,
in highlands. So I
gotcha.
don't know how much you know about Spanish cities.
I know everything there is to know about Spanish cities. How dare you judge me on my
Maybe you
wealth
can
of
teach
knowledge?
me about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's I studied Spanish cities for college. That's my I don't know anything beyond like a couple of big cities, and that's it. Um,
Yeah, maybe if I give you a bit of orientation, like if you would be in Madrid,
okay,
maybe, I hope I'm not wrong, but I think it takes 2 hours and a half or maybe a bit more to get to where I am.
okay, that sort of
Yeah.
tracks at this point. Um, I've heard that there's a lot of folks that have been moving or um, vacationing in Spain and also getting a lot of flack for it. Like
Mm,
there's cities that are like fighting back against tourists of
yeah.
some sort, but I imagine that's not the city that you're in because it's so tiny and secluded.
Yeah, luckily, no.
Um, and then, do you go home periodically to um, Slovenia?
Uh, yeah, I maybe twice a year.
You still have family back there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my parents and my sister. Um, I try to make it like twice a year. Last time I went was in June, and I will visit again maybe at the end of October, something like that.
Is
So
there is there a drastic like cultural change between the two? I mean, obviously, like food and stuff, I bet is very different in those locations. But does it feel that different going from one location to the next?
there are definitely lots of differences, but nothing drastic.
Yeah.
I think I mean, working from home, being a freelancer, I think I'm not as much in contact with society as other people are. So I think I was actually going to work somewhere in some office, for example, I might have been experiencing everything differently. But
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very true statement for a lot of illustrators that you're uh, not getting the chance to interact with the world at large. That you're sort of spending time in your studio by yourself for a majority of it. Um,
yeah,
Speaking the truth to a lot of us out there. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
Um, I see little things I got to touch up here. There we go. I don't know. Do you ever, when you're working, do you feel like when you're looking at your work that it doesn't quite feel right for a while? Like I'm at this point right now with this piece where I don't know if I like it or not, and it will probably take a little bit before I am okay with it.
yeah.
And part of it is just I need to keep going and sort of get through some of the rough part. But do you have that moment with your work where you like
Yeah,
look at it and go, ugh?
yeah, I definitely do. But
Okay.
also, what happens even more often is that I really like it, and then the next day I look at it, I'm like, ugh, like that's crap.
Oh, really? The other way around?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I go through these like ups and downs, and right now I'm in one of those valleys of like this is not going to work, and I'm hoping that by the end it does. Um, and some of it is it doesn't look like the other piece yet, but I just need to add details and other things to it to hopefully make it work. But it's a little rough right now, rough around the edges, but it will get there. I hope. I hope. Do you have
do
a
you
stack?
make
Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, just one question. Do you always leave the face for the very end?
Um, no, not always, but I feel like I'm still at the stage of blocking stuff in right now.
Hmm.
So eventually it will get the face. I know that you said you like to start with the face.
Yeah.
Um, I start with sort of shape for the most part. And so like right now I'm still feel like I'm defining shape and not actually doing any of the like character building yet. But eventually it will get to a point where that is part of this piece. But I can do it next. I will do it next for you. Um, but a lot of that is done with like detail work for me. So like when I start putting in like if I need to put in little like colored pencil lines or things of the sort, that's when that starts to come into play. And so I was kind of waiting until I got to a point where I could look at these gears and go like, oh, this is how I'm going to deal with the gears, or this is how I'm going to deal with this little detail, and that's when I'm going to put those face details in. But yeah, no, it really, I mean, some of it depends. Like when I'm working on picture books, I do often wait, like I'll do the background first. I'll build everything up, and then I will eventually get to um, the faces. But part of it is I don't know exactly what I want to do for the face as far as like color. And so, like I probably should go draw that face in, but let's see. I'll let some of this dry for a second, and I'll do that. It's not a perfect world. It's not a perfect world. We will manage. It's a question of like how big do I want the eyes to be? What shape do I want them to be?
And what expression it will be.
I like eyes close together recently. I've been getting caught up in that, like the closer they are together, the dumber they look. And so dumbness is part of the equation. If I can get them to look real stupid like. Is there when you're working on your books, like I have had enough projects where I've had to like send in sample artwork, and like here's what it's going to look like. Even the book I'm working on right now, I had to send in some sample stuff, and I'm always worried, like, are they going to like it? Is it the right style, etc. What were you laughing at that? Are you there?
Yeah, are you... Wait, I think I blacked out a bit. I was
Oh,
trying to understand the question.
I was just going to say the idea of like, do you have to do a lot of sample art, or do you like that process of making sample art where you're trying to discover the style for the book? Or do you have it already sort of locked in your head before you start said project?
I usually, not that I visualize it, but I kind of know where I want to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I just have to figure it out how to translate that to the paper.
I mean, I definitely have something similar, but I also know that like what's in my head and what I can get down on paper doesn't always match. And so
Yeah.
I have to adapt as we go along and try to figure out sort of how to make it work. But I see there's a question here too from Marilou that says, how many hours are you working during the day? And so I know you said you're a slow worker.
Yeah.
How long does it, like, are you sitting down and doing 8 hours a day kind of situation, or 9 hours a day, or are you someone that sort of mixes it up? And then also, how long does it take you to make a book?
If I'm actively like drawing for a picture book, I can only draw 4 or 5 hours, and then I can't. Like, I don't see well, my back hurts, and I notice that I start making stupid mistakes. So that's when I call it a day and just go out and do something else. So maybe because of that, it takes me quite a lot of time to finish a project.
But like as an example with Pico Paco, how long do you think that took you to produce the whole book?
Oh, it was, it might have been 2 years, but like from the very start to the moment that I submitted the final art with all the revisions and everything.
Yeah, that's not outrageous for that kind of time. For writing, I was gonna say if it was just artwork, that might be a little long, but
Yeah.
if you're writing it too and doing other things, that's actually not out of range for what some people would do. I tend to like for illustrating, I end up doing probably about 6 months. If it's a writing and illustrating, yeah, it's 2 years because it takes so long. And the writing is the long part for me. The illustrating is relatively quick. Like I've done illustrations for a book. Right now I've done 20 pages in about 2.5 weeks of a book, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
but that's before corrections. That's before, you know, there's lots of things that have to happen in there to
Yeah.
make that actually a real number. And I've done a book before where I was like, oh, I painted I think it was like a 54-page book in 15 days. And I was so proud of myself. And then when it came to the edits, they just kept going and going and going. And so like I wasn't really done with the book for quite long after that. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's just depends on the project.
Yeah. I usually take a lot of time when it comes to all these edits and revisions, and if I could just draw and no one would comment, then I would be much faster.
I don't think that's how this works, though. Uh,
No.
no, I know what you're saying. The idea of there's times where I'm like done with the book and I'm like, wrap that project up, and then the edits come in, and it's like, oh, I gotta open this thing back up
Yeah.
and do a bunch of stuff on top of it, and it gets to be a nuisance. Now, obviously, it's for the better, but there
Yeah.
are times where that can be a real um, slap in the face.
I have a selfie of myself and all the finished artwork for Pico Paco on my phone.
Like
I
that.
was so happy that day because I finished it. 3 months later, I was still doing corrections.
Oh,
And if that photo had a title, it would be like Full
yeah.
Delusion or something like that.
The yeah. There's been far too many times where I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And you know, again, like it's all for the better of the book, but it is disheartening when you have to jump back into something that you've already sort of felt like you've wrapped up or that you've solved it.
Yeah.
Um, how are you with actual notes from the publisher? Like, do those hurt? Are they something that you welcome? I mean, you said you don't want anybody to weigh in.
Yeah.
Does that mean when you get notes and they say like change this, change that, that you sort of like are annoyed or challenged in some way?
Yeah, that's what I feel, but then I know that I have to be rational.
you have to do you have to do what's right for the project and not right for you situation.
Yeah, I always take a little bit of time before replying or starting the corrections or edits or whatever, because there's always a lot of emotions. Because of course, you take it personally. I mean, you
Yep.
drew it or you wrote it,
Every,
especially at moments when you think you did really well. I just, and then, for example, sometimes it was with Pico Paco. There's some drawings that I I was like, meh, like whatever. Like I'm gonna submit this, but I know it's not the final, so I have the time to do some edits by myself later on.
yeah.
And everyone was just so happy about those images, and I was like, no, but they're not good. Like I will correct them, and I started correcting them. And my art director at that time, she told me, like, no, why are you changing it? Before it was better. And I'm like, no, it
Oh,
wasn't. And then it's these kind of things. So I've learned also that if I am not 100% happy, I should not be showing it. You know,
yeah. You got to
that's
be
also,
you
you
got to
gotta
be on
learn
board
this. But
yourself. I've had a couple instances like that where like they've assumed it was done and it was just like a sketch stage. But luckily, my sketch stages are so poorly done that it's pretty obvious to people most of the time that it still needs a lot of work. Um, the the taking notes has always been a hard one for me, and I forget who it was that said it at one point on here, but they basically said, "Don't open that email for a day or two. Like let it sit and don't get caught up in all the notes that you're getting back. And then also when you get those notes, don't respond right away and wait a little bit to let it settle a little bit in your gut. So you're not making rash decisions or trying to change something that doesn't need to be changed
yeah,
altogether. And I thought that was really, really smart sort of thoughts of you don't have to solve it that moment.
Yeah,
And I think
that's a really good piece of advice.
yeah, I think I have that tendency to try to like, well, let me solve it right now and get it done. And sometimes you rush and make a decision that's not great for anyone if you do that.
Yeah.
I want to give this
Hey,
cat.
I think I'm done with this pig.
You're done with it?
Yeah.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, you still have a lot of
I still have a lot of
a lot of legs to deal with.
caterpillar to draw. I have to do all the hairs on the caterpillar. I have to do all the legs. I have to do all the gears. Um, can you give us a quick close up of what it looks like? I know it's probably like 10 something o'clock at night there, right? Like almost 11.
Yeah, it's almost 11.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know. Can you see it well?
I can't. Oh, hold it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, there we go. There's the delay. Oh, look at that. It's so cute. I like the octopus's face. The little smile. I'm assuming that's a smile there on
Yeah.
the little U that shows up. Um,
Hmm.
I
I
have.
will try to scan this and share it tomorrow because
Oh,
I think with this light that I have here on the table, it doesn't look really
will
well.
if you scan it, will you tag me in it so
Yeah.
I can see better because the Instagram is lovely, but well, I won't say that. That's a big statement there. Instagram works well for doing this video stuff for the most part, but getting the
Mm,
details in the video is not always the best operation. So
yeah.
any chance of us seeing it differently would probably be beneficial for all. Um, so I I know it's late. I don't want to keep you if you need to wrap for the night, especially if your partner's parents are awake in the background, dreading
They're
dreading this.
probably waiting for me to shut
Yeah,
up.
yeah. They're like, this thing's going on forever. Um, but I I if you tag me in that tomorrow, that would be lovely. That I really want to see and appreciate all the details that are in there. Um,
Yeah.
there is a question here that I want to see if I can get a answer out of you real quick before. I mean, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but I also don't want to force you to stay crazy late hours. But this is a question from Marilu as well. Do you think it's possible to find projects without agents, and how? And so, can you talk a little bit about getting an agent?
Mm,
Because you do have an agent. It's a matter of
yeah.
was that something that when you got your first book deals, was that through the agency or was that on your own? How did that all sort of come to be?
Mm, I think, well, maybe to first answer the question, it is totally possible to find a project without an agent.
Yes.
I think agents, I mean, they're just helping you with, of course, with promoting your work, finding you work. They're helping you with contracts. If they're these literary agents, they also help you with writing. But it's totally possible because there are many publishers and art directors and editors looking for new artists, and they might contact you directly. I mean, this was my experience with the Pico Paco, and also before that, this book that was published in Slovenia. It was the author who contacted me.
Mm.
Yeah, so she already had the publisher and she found me. So that's also one way of starting a collaboration.
Well, you
And
said she
when,
was famous, right? Like a famous actor.
yeah, she's an actress. Yeah.
Is it somebody that we would know, or is it only in Slovenia?
I think only Slovenia.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was approached by the editor that did Pico Paco with me, I didn't have my agent back then. And I was totally try, like, I wanted to do the project by myself. I didn't even consider looking for an agent, just so I could sign the contract.
Yeah.
But I guess it was fate. at, at that time, my agent, my current agent, contacted me, and she saw some of my work on the good old Twitter, and she asked me if I'm interested in being represented and all that, and I really clicked with her. So she helped me then negotiate for the Pico Paco, and she took care of me. So I think for me, most of the work I get is thanks to social media, because
Yeah.
a lot of there are a lot of eyes on those platforms, and even if you sometimes feel like you are sharing, posting, and like sharing everything into a void, like no one is gonna see it, you might get lucky and be, you know, you might get opportunities. Or
Do you know that your work was like that you got work specifically from social media in a lot of cases? Or like I've had a few jobs that have come from social media, but I also haven't tracked all of them to say like, where'd you find me, kind of situation. So
yeah, I almost always ask where did they find me, and usually they just show a piece of artwork that I posted online, and often also it's from my website.
yeah. And so
Mm.
it's not necessarily that it's always social media, but it's online of some sort. They find you
Yeah,
like through previously done projects or something of the sort.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I should get back in the habit of asking that, because it would be helpful to know. Because I don't solely believe that it all comes from social media, but other sources. But for me at least, but I don't know if that's true or not. I know there's a few projects that I can point to that I can say that came definitely from social media, but
Mm,
I should probably track it a little bit better than what I have recently. I used to
yeah.
ask every time.
But it's nice to know. Like, one editorial project that I got for one French magazine, they I asked them where they saw me and why they decided to hire me, and there was one, I still have it. There's one illustration of a bear, orange bear, just playing, and I
Mhm.
have it on my website in my portfolio, and I really forgot that I have that piece on my website. And because who updates their portfolio often.
Yeah,
and and they showed me that drawing, and I thought, like, oh, like, that's super random. I would never think that that is the image that
that yeah.
gave me the job. It, but yeah.
Sometimes it happens. You get the most random jobs from like pieces that are old or forgotten, or um, like even you mentioning that the draw this in your style. I don't even like. I forgot about that altogether. When you said draw this in your style, I was thinking one of the other ones that I've done, but
Mm,
I totally forgot about that one altogether.
yeah,
Um, and so it's the problem is we all end up making so much work throughout the years that we don't remember everything we've done.
yeah.
At least for me, that's happened at this point. So um, started drawing all those little knee pads. They're going in. They're gonna take some time. Oh man, I got paint all over the background. I hate when I mess up the background with lots of little blips of things. Um,
I'm looking forward to seeing this caterpillar finished.
it'll be. I probably have another hour or so working on this thing to get it to a point where I'm happy with it. It's starting to come together. Remember how I said
Yeah,
it was not really working? It's starting to get there. I got
yeah.
to
I
figure out the
think
light
I
change.
think the face helps. Like,
Yes, it does.
yeah,
he needs eyebrows and he needs the strap for the helmet. And there's a bunch of other little things that need to happen in here, but we're getting there. It's a weird piece, but it will happen eventually. Well, I know it's late. I don't want to keep you if you're all set. What I'll do, give me 1 second. Let me just put in this one little last knee pad here. And then I will switch to my other shoot so I can send you off with a face instead of my tabletop. So let me do this. Ready? We'll flip. And I'll flip. And hopefully I look like I'm still okay. Whoa, it's dark there.
Yeah.
The sun went down.
Very, very dark.
Yeah. Well, I must say thank you so much for joining me. As I said before, I'm like such a huge fan of yours.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the next book. What do you know has the title been released for the next book? The one in February?
Yeah. The other day they posted it on their Instagram, so I guess I can say it out loud.
On the publisher's Instagram, meaning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Baby Says Mama.
Baby Says Mama. Okay.
It's a book about a baby, and it's really adorable.
I would hope it's a book about a baby.
But it's a human baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a real baby.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That will be in our queue of many books to buy throughout the year.
And your book comes out in September, no?
Yeah, the next one comes out in September. And then it's like another year or something like that before the next book comes out. But yeah, September. So we will see. That's soon. It's around the corner. I got to get ready for it. I don't even remember, I just realized the other day they changed the title on me, and I forgot about that, and I was calling it the wrong title for a while with some folks. So they dropped a letter. It was a piggy bank saves the day, and now it's just piggy bank saves the day. It doesn't have the letter.
Okay.
It's not much, but it still caught me off guard. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. This has been lovely.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
it's been really fun.
You did fabulous. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, but you did a good job.
Yay.
And I appreciate you taking the time. And stay in touch. I'm gonna try to touch base with you as we go along. Do you ever get to any of the big festivals or anything out there? Do you go to Bologna at all?
Yeah, I did 2 years ago. Actually, no, last year. Yeah.
Okay. We're planning to go by at least the year. Oh no, this is bad. 2029, which is a ways off. That's our max, but we want to go before then.
Okay, let me know when you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's gonna be a bunch of people out there. I'm like, if you're going, let me know, and I want to go meet up with people and buy people a drink or something over there. So, anyways, thank you. Go enjoy the rest of the evening, and I will talk to you later.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I don't know how to leave.
Perfect. I was about to say how to leave, and then I saw that. Elisa Ang, I just saw that you had a bunch of things here that didn't show up in my other comments. Hopefully I got some of those answered as we went along. Okay, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to flip down. Ooh, my hair. Wait, let's go back to this real quick. I have a little whoop going on right there. I'm going to switch back down. We will continue to make said crazy caterpillar here. That is bicycling. I'm going back and forth on whether I dig this or not, but we'll figure it out. Teacher Marin, thank you. So if people have questions or anything of the sort, throw them in the comments. Man, I made a lot of little smudges of paint on this, like this thing right here. Not supposed to be there. And this, and this, and that, and that. There's lots of little, I must have had some wet paint on my hands and smudged it around. What's funny is, I know this doesn't make any sense, some of the chain and how, or the gears and whatnot. But I like that the wheels are, there's not a fork that goes around either of the wheels. They're just on the outside. I'm going to leave it like that because that's funny to me. So I'm just going to keep putting in these knee pads. And I should put in that strap too while I'm, the chin strap while I'm at it. So here I'll do this. I'll make a little, even though he doesn't have ears, I will make the spot for where those ears go. And then that needs to come down here. That's the helmet. So one of the things I did do at the beginning of this, for anybody that cares, is because I was having problems sticking, I did pan pastels, and because I was having trouble sticking them down, I used, which I don't generally use, so hopefully Lauren is listening to this. Let me see if she's listening upstairs. Hey, Lauren! She's turned on the microwave, so she may not hear me. Hold on. I want to make sure she knows that I used this because it's not a normal material for me to use. I'll make sure. But anyways, it is Liquitex matte medium, and it does a pretty good job of making it so you can still draw on top with pencils. It's got a little tiny like satiny sheen to it, but not much, and so it shouldn't show up in the scanner. But the advantage of it is that it essentially, matte medium has a little bit of like flecks of white and things in it to dissipate some of the light that enters the paint and, you know, reflects back. And so because of that, it diminishes how much sheen is on the piece. But it also makes it something that you can draw back on top of a little bit easier than what you might normally be able to do. And so it is to me a good way to solve that idea of like the powder, it seals it a little bit more than what the glue would normally do, and so it holds up a little bit better. Hey, Lauren. All right, well, she's having a whole conversation with my son up there, so we'll deal with that one when we get the chance. Anyways, if you have questions that you want answered, you throw them in those comments and I will answer accordingly. This is actually a good thing, but because I was on vacation, I haven't had a chance to work on the project that I'm working on, and I'm excited to get back into it because I stopped at a point where I knew what was happening and like what I needed to do, and now I get to restart a new chunk of it in a new manner. Like basically like how can I describe this? I drew all the pages that structurally I understood how to make, and now I'm at a point wherein I have to make some new decisions. So it's sort of like not necessarily a new project in my mind, but it feels a little bit more inventive. And so I'm excited to jump back into it. I also have to start prepping for teaching. Okay, let me look and see if there's questions. No, there's nothing yet. So again, if you have questions, you put them in there, and I'm happy to answer. I'm trying to vary these up so they're not all at the same height. Because then if I make them all at the same height, it's kind of boring. It becomes a stripe. So I'm trying to figure out how to like move them around to the right spots so they feel like these are a little close to me. So I'm trying to make sure I do these other ones at much more of a distinct spot visually. So it just looks like it's varied. So I might even do this one right there like that. Okay, I gotta let that dry for a little bit. While I let that dry, come in and do some shadow work. In fact, I want this guy, this Payne's Gray. There's a nice little spot to draw these shadows. What I'm trying to do is make sure that they stand out against the tubing of said frame. That one doesn't get it, this one does. There we go. These are the weld spots. It's for anybody that's had a bike, you might know what weld spots means. I also thought I could do a little flag that sticks up here. That might be another way to deal with this. Lauren? Lauren? At some point she'll hear me.
Yeah?
Did you get that I used acrylic matte medium?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay.
You didn't use that paper, right?
Nope. I just want to make sure that was put in there of some sort. All right, so let's see. Is that clogged up? No, that's good. Okay. What I want to see is if I come in here and put some little pokey hairs that come up and stick up out of this guy. So he's a little bit more caterpillary. Caterpillary. That's a real word, right? I think it is. Caterpillary. I wonder if I should do... No, I don't like that. Where is my eraser? There it is. Go. Okay. The whole idea of it gets me so clever and adorable. Well, thank you. Okay, so I am going to go in here and with, let's see, what color do I want to do? Maybe a little bit of the yellow, a light yellow. Go in here and put in the pad lines. Is that too much? Is it too thick of a line? Let's try my little tiny brush. My little tiny brush. I don't know if I like that. I may just go back and do them black. I think they worked a little bit better black. Without the color there. I might do a little bit of pencil work on top of them, but I don't want something that bold. Okay, and then I also need to do the chain, which I'm not even sure what color to try to do this chain. Should it be purple? But then the purple lines up with that. Should it be yellow? Well, then the yellow lines up with that. Should it be pink? Well, then the pink lines up with it. It's sort of, there's a lot of different things that need to be managed here. I also might go put some of this like purpley pink in some stripes or some things across this. I'm unsure. We'll figure it out as we go along. We will figure it out as we go along. Cha cha cha. Is that the one? Oh, this is the one I want. I'm trying to like. It's gonna be a weird menagerie of colors. On some of this, let's see. Where'd that yellow go? Here's my yellow. Come back in, put some of these other colors in. Okay. Find a spot to sort of taper off the butt, which is a phrase that I've used too many times in my life. Oh. I wonder if I have. Is that too? I think that may be too strong on the yellow, but we will see. I'll come back in here and actually I kind of dig it. These big punches of. Oh, I got a bunch on my arm there. Look at that. this idea of this like really punchy yellow, even though it's not a color I started with. I'm gonna throw it in here because it just shines with some of these tones that are here. Let's see, are there any other little patches I should do? Where'd that yellow marker go? There it is. Here's what I'll do. I will leak quite a bit out on my palette. All right, let's see. Okay, and then some little touches on these. Once this dries, I'm gonna come back in and change a couple things with it, but gives me a sense of where that color should go. Do I do mentorship year round? When do you teach classes start up? I will do mentorship year round, but I will not do a bunch of them year round. So one or two during the school year kind of situation. It just the time frame can be a little bit difficult to manage. But I do have school coming up. We start in late August, so I have to prep all of my classes accordingly. And for the most part, one of them I've already taught before, so it shouldn't be a heavy lift to get it prepped. The other one I have not taught before, so that one will be a lot of work to figure out sort of what I want to do. And it's a very experimental class, so it's going to require a lot more. There's not as clear of a structure to what I'm doing. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I just, figuring out the order of things, figuring out how to convey the concepts to the students, make sure they have some of the lectures or information prepped in a way that is effective for all those who are taking the class. That is going to take some time, but essentially mid-August is our coming back to meetings point for faculty, and then thereafter I think our actual start date is like the 26th or the 27th, something like that, for classes of August. And so I will have some work to do. Good question though. I'll put some black lines. One said helmet. Same over here. On said seat. Okay, it's probably time to put that chain in. That chain is going to be a nightmare. I might actually go touch up some of these other colors up here so it feels a little bit brighter. Like they feel a little subdued to me. So I might come back in and get some other little touches to bring it back up. It's like the equivalent of this, and maybe even this guy in a little bit differently here. Then
Maybe you could remind people about mentorship stuff.
Yep, I have.
I know, but
I will again.
Watching now than we're watching before.
I know we were just talking about them though, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. Do they know that you have open slots?
I will say that right now. My wife is talking to me upstairs, and she says, I should remind everybody about those mentorships. So if you go to the first post on my feed, you will see that there is a mentorship or a post about mentorships, and they are done in 3 different formats: either a single session portfolio review, a 2-part session where I do portfolio review and give out some assignments and things of that sort, or a 4-session version wherein I do all of the above plus more assignments and a longer span where we can spend talking about business and other things of the sort. But those are available if you are interested. You just DM me and I can quote you some info on them. But yes. I'm not as big of a fan of the tail end of this. I'm gonna cover it up a little bit more. Get some more paint down here. Cover it up a little bit. All right. I just set that in my paint and not on the thing I was supposed to set it on. Let's see this now. There's air holes in that. Let's put some little piping and striping on there. This is better for the knee pads.
I think that must be a nanocycle.
A nanocycle?
Yeah.
Because there's not. It's still a bicycle, right?
What?
Isn't it still a bicycle?
Oh yeah, you're right. It has 9 pedals.
Yeah, it just has more pedals. It's not a... It's a bicycle with... It's a... What they say, like a fixed gear or a 10-speed or whatever. And so it's something of that sort. I wonder if I can come in here and do this. Hopefully not too much.
Octo tandem. That'd be if there were multiple riders.
Nope, just one rider. That just got away from me, that colored pencil right there. Let's see if I can correct for it. There we go. Got it. Okay. Still trying to tweak little odds and ends in here. I got to use the hair dryer here for a second. Okay. Let's see. Let's put these gears on now, which is not going to be fun because of the way I set this up. It will happen. Not the gears, the chain. But first, I'm trying to avoid it, basically.
Are viewers working on anything?
Are viewers working on anything? If they can't hear you, I'm repeating what you said. All right. These are my interpretations of gears. Without having to draw every little thing that sticks out. I just need dashes that show that there's some sort of pattern. How many more we got? We got 3 more, and then I can do the chain finally. Keep it like this. Soft moss art. Oh, let's see. Quickly take a picture says embroidery. That's good. Soft moss art says another green card. My third one since graduating. The other 2 need some fixing though. Soft moss arts. Did you sell all the rest of them? Let me do this. This is not how bike chains work, but this is how they're working for me. They crisscross. Unfortunately not just making more. I'm printing them yet because I would like to figure out how to sell them. There you go. Okay. It will take time. You can have a series of stock that sits at home, and then when you need to, you go to an event, you pulled out some new ones, some old ones, some goodies, some ones from the archive, whatever you want to say, and that would work. That's how I'm going to operate the chain. And what I might do is come back with my white make it a little bit pattern heavy too. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Working on a portrait. Don't forget the cape. This one's really fun. Well done. You like the idea of a cape? Let's see if we can fit a cape in there. I was a little hesitant, but I think I can get a cape in there. It's a question of what color should the cape be? check yourself. Should it be? That's not for this project. Do something that's like a really crazy purple. Can do something that's sort of a light purple that goes back. I like the idea of the cape. Let's see. Well, stuff to it. I'm trying to figure out what colors I have here to play with. That would work on that cape. I don't want it to be too strong of a palette. So like something like that probably could work. So let's do this. It's funny, the last piece I did have a cape in it. Let's start there. And we'll let it naturally sort of flow that way. I'll cut this. In fact, we'll wave the end. I'll trim this a little tighter on this. Let the scissors do the work. There we go. So a little something like this, and then I need the next little bit, which can probably be something like this. Try to figure out where to put the little curves. Although it's got to come out of. Let's see, how do I do this? I curve it down here, so it's got to come up like this, and then go into the cape. All right, let's see. And then I'll do the bit wrapped around. So I did something like this, and then continued it into something like this. Let's see. Might make it a little bit of a different color. Seeing that. Let's see. Do that and that. Like I like that color actually, so maybe I should just do it out of that. Out of the bike color. Let's see. It comes in here like this. Tie it in like that. And then get this guy here, put it there. Let's see. I have to run to get the toddler looking great. Excited to see the final piece. Looking forward to the next one. Thanks, Tom. I hope you are well. We need to catch up at some point. Got to get you back on here and come up that way at some point. We almost made it up to Peaks Island, but did not. But at some point we should. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue these together. I like that as the cape. I'll do some color adjustments and whatnot, but I like that as the cape. So what I need to do is make this glued down. Got to glue it together and then cut it and then glue it down again. So glue that onto here. That works. Then take my scissors. Cut that edge. Okay. Okay, I'll just make sure lengthwise that we're good. That goes down right there. It should probably be a little bit shorter. What I might do is a tiny little touch of this warmer palette on it, so it's a little bit more akin to what the bike is. Doesn't have to be perfect, but a little bit more of that. Gotta let that dry for a second. Where's my hair dryer? So that little edge that's coming up there. Where am I on time? Oh man, I'm pushing it. Okay, we're gonna get this done. Is I want to avoid all the little hairs on the back as much as possible. Bring this guy down just a touch. There we go, I think that's it. And then I will take a little piece to be the knot around the neck here. I'll take a little bit of a darker piece for that. Could be right here. Where's my glue stick? There it is. So one other thing I want to do on this is I want to add little dust clouds underneath the wheels to imply that it's cruising along. And what I will probably do, I can probably just do this with paint. What is that noise? Lauren? Lauren? What's that noise?
Oh, there's a Amazon truck backing in.
Wow, that sounded weird.
Yeah, maybe it's electric or something.
I don't know. That sounded like someone was scraping something to me. That is not a good sound for that. Their beep is wrong. The beep, beep, beep backing up sound was.
Turning around.
Yeah, that was not a correct sound. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take this. I'm going to some little lines in there. A couple of lines this way. Sounds like an Amazon truck. How did everybody know that was an Amazon truck and I didn't? Am I oblivious to what an Amazon truck sounds like nowadays? Didn't sound correct to me, but you know, whatever. Whatever. If anybody gets that reference, then whatever. Then we can be friends. If you understand my whatever reference. Okay, so here's honesty. Let's see if I can make a little. Except I want something a little bit more gray than that, a little bit more like light purple like this. I can do this little like poof. Come out from underneath the wheel there, like so. You can get another one over here. That can go back that way. This guy can go sharper edge that can fit right underneath there. Okay. And get my glue stick. Where are we? Close. Electric. I just guess I've never heard an electric Amazon truck. Not in these neck of the woods, not up in New Hampshire. Okay, I need one more little dust cloud. Question of which color is the best color to go with. Probably this one. There we go. Just don't want it to stick out too far past. It's a little too long. Let's shorten it up. That's better. Okay. There we go. Let's get this stuck down. Why is that not sticking? Let's try this again. That feels better. Does it look like a bike? I think it does. The only other thing I'm looking at, tweaking ever so lightly, is getting some more yellow there. Let's go touch up little spots here. Okay, let's get the cape drawn in. Is there anything else I need to do this? Or should I call it that? I don't think I need those as pronounced as they are. And then I want this back around that foot. Around that foot. And then there's probably only one other little thing I want to tweak, which is to get some shadows behind some of these legs, but they just weren't going down well. So getting some that leg doesn't go on top. Okay, I think that may be it. We have just a few minutes left. I see a couple other things I'm going to tweak, but they'll take a second to do. I just forgot to go back to them. Give me 1 second. Put my colored pencils away. Stash those in there. This one and this one go in there. Are there any other colored pencils out here? There's one more. Is there room for this one? Maybe, maybe not. I put something in here I wasn't supposed to. It should fit in here. There's room. There we go. Okay. One other thing I wanted to touch base with was this white pigment. Here. And then this one just had some yellow in it. I don't know why. But I want to clean it up so we don't see the yellow as much. Just add a little bit of yellow on my hand. Carried down. I see. Sorry, I keep saying I'm done, but I'm not done. A couple other little touches I wanted to make here, which was I came back in and filled this in. I did not have all of those drawn back in. That may be it. It's a weird, I don't know, piece. Not sure why it turned into this. but it did. Okay, so let's get these markers out of the way. Those can stay over there. This can stay over here. Oh no, another colored pencil needs to go down there. I don't know if it'll fit. What did I put in here that is not supposed to be in here? There's got to be something in here that I put in that doesn't need to be. Maybe I just doubled up some colors. I'll jam it down in there. Perfect. Okay. That can go away. That can go away. All of this, you know, pushed off to the side. This. This. Go over here. This brush can go in there. And go over here. This is all scraps. Scraps. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, then I will grab the ever needed. Oh, look at this! I have colors I didn't even use. Next time. I'm gonna grab the finishing touch, which is to put it on a blackboard. Make it look all lovely in the end. And I will add into the equation my what is that? There we go. My sketch, which is up here, so you can see sort of what it started out as, and what it became. I will zoom in for you. See if I can get it in a good spot here where we can see it without. Hold on, everything's tipping over on my desk. Where are we time-wise? We're good. We're good. Even if it tips over, we're good. Try to make some room for this to fit in there. There we go. That can stay up there. Okay. So somewhere in there is what we're looking at. Teacher Marin, you said whimsy. I know you changed it to whimsy, but no, I'm going to go with whimsy. I got some whimsy. Hey, Jared Chapman. No, oh, it's Jason Chapman. I don't know who Jason Chapman is. That's a Jared Chapman at first. Barrett, thank you. So this is it for the night. That is the sketch. It looks a little bit like, what's that caterpillar from, is it Labyrinth? No, oh wait, yeah, maybe it is Labyrinth. Where he's got the like crazy hair that sticks up. And now it's turned into my bicycling daredevil of a caterpillar. I will clean this up when I put it on the computer and get rid of all the little smudges and junk around the edge. There's little things stuck to it everywhere. I will clean that all up so it'll be all nice and pretty. Might do a little color adjustment on it here and there, but for the most part, it is done. Again, there's a little sketch goes with it. I will see you all next week when we have Justin Worsley on, I believe. And then we have our August lined up. I'll be making those ads relatively shortly and posting those so you can see who's coming around the corner. Otherwise, you all have a lovely week. Yes, the caterpillar says hello. You all have a lovely week, and I will see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Bye, everybody.